Yesterday was wild.
Oh yeah.
I thought the night game was going to go differently.
It looked like it for a bit, huh?
Yeah, I honestly didn't believe. I don't know. I still have doubts now more than I did about Buffalo. Like people are like, "Oh, they're so believable," and I was like, "I don't know. That game was rough to watch."
Yeah, I mean, you saw the typical Allen mistakes that were bad. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, next week's gonna be. I don't like that there's a Monday night game. Thought the whole reason they did Monday night games, got rid of Monday night games at the end of the season, was so everybody was on the same rest schedule, and then made a Monday night game.
Yeah, now you're giving a team one less day.
Yeah, because they'll play Sunday the following week. So I'm like, that's why you got rid of Monday nights on week 18. So they didn't play on Sunday in the playoffs and have one less day. But now you did it during the playoffs. So I don't know. Dumb, but
Who got the Monday night game? Dallas?
no, we're 4:30.
Oh.
Philly and Tampa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
They did the AFC first, NFC second. Actually, it's kind of weird. I thought that last year they scattered it like every other, but both AFC games are on Saturday, and then the third is the first game on Sunday, and then it's 3 consecutive NFC games after.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
But I don't know. Whole lot there, Dean.
Yes, hello.
I have a feeling this is going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, the over-under was 56 points.
Oh, yeah, I don't think... I mean, Washington, between their quarterback and the 3 wide receivers, they're going to put up some points. It's the big thing is how often can Michigan come up with a stop, and can they keep pace?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if Washington gets a stop, if they score here and then get a stop and then score again, can Michigan immediately keep pace?
Because, yeah, if Michigan's like down 10 going into the fourth, it's not a good sign.
No, yeah, because their way to win games is run game, and Washington's way to win games is kind of like the Bengals has been, where it's you have to stop our 3 elite receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are absolute monsters.
Everybody says their 3 receivers are all NFL receivers. One of them's going first round for sure. The other 2 are probably second day guys.
I didn't know the other one declared yet. I didn't know if he was staying for another year. Because the third option receiver, not because I've heard rumors that the other one might sneak his way into the bottom of the first round.
Well, I mean, depending on how they play tonight, for sure. I mean, Penix's stock is going way up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's like I said, the only risk about him is injury. There's not a single negative about his game.
Every guy who evaluates him as a passer says like he can make the throws, and he's basically your pocket. Like he is good in the pocket.
And he's a leader, which is good. But yeah, I don't know. Tonight's game is going to be fun no matter what. I mean, I really want Michigan to lose, but I don't really care in the end. It's just I want a good fucking national championship game. Last year's was embarrassing, Georgia and TCU.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody kind of knew how that was going to go.
Yeah, TCU beating Michigan in the first round was such an upset, and everybody was like, TCU could do it, and then Georgia was like, no thanks.
Yeah, we're going to post 60 on you.
But how you doing, Tesco?
Yes, hello, Tesco. How are you? But, yeah, I feel like this year they did the best job they've done of saying, no, these are the better teams. We're picking these teams.
Yeah.
And next year it really won't matter because you get the top 12, potentially.
Yeah. I actually think next year will be kind of interesting. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out.
Well, yeah, just with how many games that adds, right?
Yeah, and you kind of, in my opinion, Pack is back, kind of. I mean, they're dead on Sunday, but
yeah. But imagine if they win. Imagine if they win.
Honestly, if they just make it competitive, it's a win.
Yeah.
If they can be competitive, the youngest team to ever make the NFL playoffs, if they can make it competitive with the Cowboys in Dallas, I'm happy.
And just to put it in perspective, Dallas ended the season as the number 1 offense and the 5th ranked defense.
Yeah. And you wanted a high draft pick. I did when I thought Love was a problem, but I think I'm at the point where I can see him and this young core growing together and becoming something. Like Colin Carter broke it down today, and he was so much better in his last 10 games of the season than Aaron Rodgers was last year in the last 10 games of the season. And I was like, I mean, the team is still the same. So
it's the same guys, except Jordan Love is now in instead of Rodgers.
Yeah. And it's Jaden Reed instead of Alan Lazard.
Oh, no.
Who Rodgers chose. Who Rodgers chose. So I don't know. But what I'm curious what the line is. We're going to talk about playoff games. We're not going to pick the Sunday ones yet, but I am curious. 7.5 point favorite.
It kind of makes sense.
The biggest favorite is the Bills as 10-point favorites. And somehow the Eagles are actually favored.
By, I think, 3.5.
Yeah, on the road. 7.5, yeah. I kept saying I need another season, but I'm in a group with the if you go on TikTok and you look up like Nerd Sesh, it's literally how it's spelled, just Nerd Sesh. I'm in their little Discord, and we talk a lot of football. We do it the entire day on Sunday. And, I was talking to these Vikings and Lions fans, and they were convincing me Love is better than I actually give him credit for. And I was like, oh, I mean, I see it, but like part of me's like, what I saw those 5 games that we fell apart, I was like, I don't see it. But then at the same time, he took the steps afterward and grew. So I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of understand why I can believe in it. And the core is so young. He didn't have his left tackle. Trade Bakhtiari for the love of God.
Or let him retire and let the money come off the books.
Whichever way, but I don't think he's going to retire. He's already said he wants to go back and play with Rodgers, so just go fucking play with Rodgers.
Yeah, trade
him to the Jets.
Yeah, trade him to the New York Green Bay Jets or whatever.
Right? Jair did say he thinks he's going to be with the Packers again next year, even though there's rumors that they're looking to move him. But
ooh, that ankle.
Yeah, that did not look good for their running back. He got hurt last week in the last couple of plays of the game against Texas. So I didn't think he was going to play today. So he wrapped that ankle up deep because it was almost the same exact thing.
He's the one was he dealing with that foot injury?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a cat behind me? I see something. Yep.
Yep.
I saw something moving
right
out of
behind your head. Right behind you. Like,
She's like cleaning herself, and I saw her ears moving, and I was like, is that what I think I see his head? She's a goofball. But so we're going to talk today. We're going to do a little different. We're not going to break down every game because there's like no reason to talk about the Chiefs-Chargers game. There's no real reason to talk about the Patriots-Jets game except for the fact that Bill might be gone. I'm amazed haven't heard that yet today.
Well, so out of his press conference came the fact that he is signed on for next year.
Yeah, because remember that came out earlier in the season that Rappaport reported it. Granted, there was no guarantee that was true because there's never actual information out of New England.
Except when it comes to Madame Kamei's Pleasure Palace.
Yep. There you go. You can't watch games. Poor K. Sorry, I just saw that.
Is it out of like horrifying,
Are you terrified of what you'll see?
Do you feel, are you superstitious and feel like you may sway the game?
But we'll talk about the important games. We'll talk about what the playoffs look like now. The coach firings. We do have to tell everyone Arthur Smith was fired last night, 2 minutes into midnight. The world got better. Ron Rivera obviously gone, and the Commanders have already called 4 different teams to ask about interviewing coordinators. Well, not 4 different teams. Sorry, 4 different coordinators because 2 of them come from the Lions.
Yep.
And they've already tried to get they called the Bears about their assistant GM to try and make him their GM. So a lot of stuff's going on. So we'll be somewhere that Belichick would be willing to relieve some duties if that's what is best for the team. But I could have been wrong. I do not know. I actually have not paid attention to the coaching situation today because a lot less names came out than I expected, and I just stopped paying attention.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of names thrown out there. Like I said, the Commanders made that move with bringing in the NBA exec to oversee. Apparently, they brought in him and another guy from outside of football to oversee operations and bring in the next staff.
Bob Myers to assist with Commanders.
Yeah, that was the name, Bob Myers.
I don't know enough about basketball to know who the fuck Bob Myers is. Except
well, he was a 2-time NBA Executive of the Year and then went into television.
Ah, okay.
And now he's.
But we do have other sports news, so we'll cover that before we get there. Obviously, the national championship game is going on right now for the FBS. Washington's down 7-0 in third and goal situation. Montana got absolutely creamed by South Dakota State yesterday. They lost 23-3, so the FCS title goes to South Dakota State for the second consecutive season, their 22nd consecutive win. If they go undefeated next year and win the title again, they are going to be eligible to move up if they want. So we'll see if they choose to.
Yes, and Bob Myers did build the most recent Warriors dynasty team.
Interesting.
Big news of the day. Ejected. Big news of the day.
Can I guess? Can I guess what your big news of the day is?
Yeah.
Nike ends its sponsorship of Tiger Woods?
Yeah, Tiger Woods got ejected.
I saw that earlier, and I was like, I got to beat Dot to it, but I thought he probably already read it.
27 years, man. 27 years. It was on the decline when they started putting Nike Golf on Jordan shoes.
Did they really?
Yeah, they sell Jordan fucking golf cleats now.
I didn't know that.
Oh, hell yeah. They're like $400 a pair, but...
Have you seen the details of Michigan's contract with Jordan? The University of Michigan football team has an exclusive contract where all their jersey stuff is made by Jordan.
Oh.
And they gain, like, first doing that and giving Jordan a free sponsorship on the uniforms, they get, like, fucking $143 million a year from Jordan.
Makes sense. I mean, his royalties from Nike are absolutely outrageous.
Yeah. They're the only team in football that actually has exclusive rights to Jordan. So,
makes sense. You want to be a brand that, like, if you want to build your own brand and then kind of go with the best solo brand of all time.
Yeah, he's a hell of a businessman. What he bought the Charlotte Hornets for and then what he sold them for is fucking insane.
I think he got it from his mama because she was the one that helped set up the Nike deal.
Yeah. And then now he's a NASCAR owner. And those cars, when he got into NASCAR, it was $2 million to buy a car to race, like to build your own team. And now they're selling it $16 million a charters. No, $70 million. I'm sorry. It was $70 million this year. And I was like, that's just for one car. And he has a 2-car team. And when he bought them, they were only $4 million for the pair.
Now they're 140.
Yeah. He's just a freaking, he knows where it's hot and where to get in.
Too bad he couldn't play for more than like 8 years without his gambling addiction, huh?
Yeah, and if, like I saw as a meme, Jordan couldn't fix the Wizards. If LeBron can go fix the Pistons, he truly ends the GOAT debate.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, Tiger, that was shocking to me because I didn't know what it came from. Because I don't know. They stuck with him through all the other crap.
Well,
I mean, I know they took him out for a little while, but
they've stopped really making anything golf related outside of like apparel. So like he's been, first off, he plays tailor-made clubs, and if you know anything about pros clubs, they don't even play clubs you and I buy. Essentially, they just have the mark that looks like the club you and I buy, but their clubs are so fucking specific that like. Tiger Woods his irons from Nike used to say TW and then PT after it. And essentially every club he ever played in his career was a Tiger Woods prototype club. Like, Tiger Woods has the innate ability to hold a club and tell the difference in weight by essentially within half a gram.
Who the fuck is Chris Kirk?
Oh, why?
PGA Tour just posted Chris Kirk.
Oh, he won the Century tournament this week.
Okay, I just saw it.
He shot his odds to win the tournament were plus 12,500 before, and he won by a stroke.
Yeah, it just showed up on my phone literally just now, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? I've never heard of a Chris Kirk."
I was like, "Oh, you said PGA Chris Kirk?" I was like, "Yeah, he won the Century tournament this weekend." It's a fun tournament just because of the course it's played on.
But I didn't know that about Tiger Woods and his clubs. I had no idea. I don't know enough about
almost all the pros, especially the big name guys. They're not hitting a club you or I would ever hit, because when you go to buy a club off the shelf, if it says it's an 8.5 degree driver, it can be anywhere between 8 degrees and 9 degrees, and that's considered 8.5.
I didn't know that either.
So when they hit a club and it says 5.5, it's actually 5.50000, and it's tested to be that. Like, they have like a guy that drives around from each company with different heads for each club. Took a field goal there, huh?
Overthrew him.
So yeah,
there's behind my thing buffered for like 2 minutes.
All the putters, everything. There's a guy who's driving basically a Snap-on Tools truck, but instead of Snap-on Tools, it's TaylorMade. And there's a Scotty Cameron putter, and every single guy goes into one of those before every tournament. They're there fixing their clubs before every tournament.
You teach me so much about golf that I never knew.
Just getting a club fitting, like $35, even if you go to like a Dick's Sporting Goods, when you get your clubs, will make all the difference in the world. Like, my clubs are 1/2 inch long. They're and then they're bent 1/2 degree upright, which helps me fight my slice and hit a draw better.
No wonder they always bother me when I'm in the Dick's golf section, just while looking around at clubs. They're like, "Can I?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm just here because I'm bored."
Listen, I love golf. It's a strange thing, but hockey, complete opposite season. You need something to do in the off town.
It's where I get my ammo for my gun. So like, I go there, get my ammo, and then I just kind of wander around.
Yeah, see, I go to Dick's and I tell Meg, like, go look around, and then I sneak into the golf section and come out generally like $500 less in my pocket.
For me, it's ammo and Realtree camo, because I don't find that at any other store around here.
Dude, if I get to a Golf Galaxy, that'll be like me in a Micro Center. I am just gonna go broke.
What is wrong with you dogs tonight?
I just live far enough from civilization where those places actually exist that that risk is very low. But it's a real risk.
Yeah, I can get to Dick's in about 6 minutes.
No, I have a Dick's. I'm talking about like a Golf Galaxy or a Micro Center. Yeah, I'd be in trouble.
I've never seen either of them. So
Micro Center only has like fucking 12 stores total, which is hilarious that they actually survive, but all they do is sell high-end computer parts, so it kind of makes sense. Golf Galaxies are a little bit bigger. There's a few more around, obviously, with 18,000 golf courses in the United States. They're fine,
Actually, I think there's a Micro Center near me. Not that close, but it's about a 35-minute drive.
Yeah, see, my closest one is like 4.5, 5 hours. I've actually contemplated making the drive for a computer part, though.
Yeah, because I live living near DC and Baltimore and Philly, it puts a couple in range.
Yeah.
Especially with all the government and PC needs for the NSA and CIA being right here.
Listen, the NSA doesn't measure computers by screens. They measure them by acre, okay? Just remember that. Next time you make a call out of the country, just say a bunch of hot buzzwords and see if a couple guys in black suits show up at your door.
I have a good friend that works for the NSA.
That's like where I went to school. It's, as weird as it sounds, they'd have like 6 or 7 computer science majors, and 2 or 3 of them would go work for the NSA.
Yeah, everyone around here, man. There's a tech center in our town that is literally just dedicated to learning like computer science or cybersecurity, and everyone I knew in that high school that went to that tech center now works for the NSA.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you could also just become a high-end criminal in the opposite direction using computers and probably get paid more than those guys once the NSA hires you.
Yeah, it's crazy that I
You
actually
got to
heard
risk prison for a high payout, you know?
I read that the FBI and CIA have a hard time hiring hackers because the hackers they go to hire can't pass marijuana drug tests.
No, they can't.
Any of it. And so they have a hard time hiring the top level hackers because they also
well, here's how they get those hackers though. There was a kid in Nevada who built a machine that could detect radioactive material in the Nevada desert and was like collecting it illegally in his parents' garage at the age of like 14.
Oh, okay.
So what they said was basically once they caught him at the age of 16, they said basically you come work for us or you go to jail. And he went on for the FBI. He built the camera that goes on spy planes that detects radioactive activity in foreign countries.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, prison or come work for us. And then you can't smoke weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Be so cool to be talented at that age. Like that 13-year-old that just was the first person to ever beat Tetris.
Well, that's fine. But I mean, at 13, 14, I wanted to try and kiss a girl at some point. You know what I mean?
The British news, when the British news heard about that kid, they literally, during the news thing, said you should probably go outside.
Yeah.
I was like,
they were literally the go touch grass kid. No, don't get me wrong. It's an accomplishment, but at the same time, you know, I was interested in a couple other things at 13, 14.
Yeah, I mean, hell, it's an accomplishment. Dr. Disrespect still brags about winning the 1992 Blockbuster
92, 93 back-to-back Blockbuster champion
of NBA Jam. And that's what he still brags about. So,
I mean, have you seen his car choice and what his channel looks like? Yeah, he's living in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, if you...
Oh, is a Lamborghini Diablo? Is that what it is? Yes, that's what it is.
He's like those Cowboys fans that just brag about the last time they won a Super Bowl.
Dude, I'm telling you, if they get bounced in the first round, McCarthy's getting fired.
I don't believe that. Well, you know what? If they lose to the Packers as 7.5-point favorites, yeah, probably. I'm going to listen and watch, but I'm driving back from Idaho. Well, why'd you go to Idaho Falls on a Monday? You knew you couldn't join us. Like, we're the thing to do on Monday.
Oh, man, they can't stop Edwards. That's scary.
No, and McCarthy is picking them apart, too. This might be, if Washington doesn't score a touchdown on this drive, this could get out of hand. Because Washington's defense is getting exposed.
And you know what? All I can see is the dollar signs increasing for Jim Harbaugh to go to the NFL.
Oh, we were almost out of dog food and you were expecting a blizzard. Well, tell it to stop snowing. I mean, you live in Wyoming. You could just pass the snow.
No, we don't want it on the East Coast, Matt. We don't.
I do.
I know you do.
Dude, tomorrow is going to be a nightmare. They're already closing schools tomorrow around here because they're calling for up to 3.5 inches of rain tomorrow with 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, we did hear about the 60-mile-an-hour winds coming.
Yeah, we're getting like floods and torrential freaking downpours and heavy winds, and I'm like, oh, tomorrow's going to be wonderful. Move north then? Hey, Buggy, how you doing? You know what? I am looking to move north. When I leave this area, when this contract is up at this apartment, I am definitely moving somewhere where winter weather is way more frequent. Yeah, they're closing schools because the roads are going to be flooded over. I mean, they're calling for 3.5 inches of rain. That's no freaking joke.
Yeah, we'll just get 3 to 4 more inches of snow.
Go fuck yourself. The thing is, they say an inch of rain is a foot of snow if it was snowing. And I was like, we could get 3.5 feet of snow if it wasn't 50 degrees tomorrow.
Listen, you don't say that. We got 3.5 feet of snow in fucking April one year in one storm in 20, like it was probably 30 hours total. We got 40 inches here, and where I used to live in Lake Placid, they got 46.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah, you know what's not not to be jealous about? Having to go out and snowblow 7 times in one day.
Yeah, the worst snowstorm I ever had was when I was living in Montana, and I was living in a dorm, so I didn't have to give a fuck. Wasn't my issue. Parking lot was their problem, not my problem. Man, I miss snow though.
We ended up taking like camping chairs, the fold out camping chairs.
Yeah.
And setting them in the snowbanks in my front yard. We just sat out there and drank during the day. And the guy across the street's state trooper, so he pulled up in his trooper because they were out patrolling, obviously. He pulled up in his car. Like, what you guys doing? We're like, I had a bottle of tequila in my hand. Buddy Chet has a fucking beer bottle in his hand. We're like, waiting for more snow. He's like, well, you're on your own property. Have fun tonight. So we just hung out and we snowblowed for literally most of the day.
The problem is most of the states north of here have real high income tax, and I'm trying to avoid it. So I'm like,
don't come to New York.
Yeah, like New York and Maine. Like I've looked a lot at Maine, but their income tax is ridiculous. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, just remember, like all the what was it? They came out with that another list today that like all the healthiest states. North of West Virginia, you're good. You just can't be in West Virginia.
Granted,
don't go to New Hampshire if you don't like potholes. I'll tell you that.
I do love me some West Virginia. I mean, Michigan has literal potholes everywhere, dude. Me is fucking with Harley, and
New Hampshire has potholes that'll swallow your whole car.
I don't know. I don't know. My dad lives in Wyoming, so I've looked at Wyoming, and it's like a house in a regular state like Michigan or West Virginia is like the same size in Wyoming. It would be like 200,000 in West Virginia, and it's like 750,000 in Wyoming. I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah, that's because they like space between people.
Well, no, it's because all the rich celebrities and millionaires are now moving out there.
I was gonna say the guy that puts on that golf tournament that I go to at the Trump course. Mm-hmm. The guy that throws that has his second home is a 10,000 acre ranch in Wyoming.
Yeah, Harrison Ford has a house out there. Sandra Bullock has a house out there. Like Richard Petty has a house out there.
Yeah, that guy flies in animals to shoot on his own property.
See, like I know you're not a rich celebrity. You got in right before this spike, though. This spike has been nuts because I've been like when I lived in Bozeman for college, I didn't want to leave. So I looked at houses, and like a house there, the same exact house was for sale last year as when I was leaving college. When I left college, it was $180,000. It's now valued at $1 million. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, my area hasn't been that bad, but here, I mean, right now you got $100,000 houses.
Just don't play the game if you don't want to play defense. Fucking Christ. Well, they're already in the red zone again.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think Washington's going to be able to stop Michigan here.
They're just not stopping the ground game. Edwards tore him up. Now Blake Corum's tearing him up. Like, fuck.
Donovan Edwards has 2 of the longest CFP championship game runs in history.
Christ. All right, anyway, we had a lot of football things happen, so let's talk about football. Boogie last night before she went to bed was like, I'm not looking forward to hearing you guys talk about football tomorrow.
Yeah. It's not for your team. Hell, that might not even be a game we really care to talk about much, other than the fact that I think
I'm not even going to talk about the game. I'm just going to talk about what the situation is for Philly right now.
Yeah.
The first game we talked about yesterday didn't wind up mattering, but I want to talk about the end play of the Falcons and Saints. So the touchdown that Jameis Winston audibled to give Jamal Williams his only touchdown of the season has sparked a stir that I didn't expect it to spark. So we saw Arthur Smith get fucking livid. A lot of people just said it's because he knew he was getting fired anyway.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, there's no other reason he would be that mad.
But then Dennis Allen's mad. And then I see today, I think it was Shannon Sharp. It was Shannon Sharp said that they should be fucking cutting Jameis Winston this morning because of making that call, which I feel is extremely drastic.
Okay. I'll let you go and then I'll say my piece.
So I have a very strong opinion about football because I've seen college teams run up scores, Wisconsin being one of them a few times. And I don't have a problem with I don't know why Jameis is a piece of shit, except for what he did in college. I don't know why. I don't have a problem with teams running up scores. If you can't stop them, it is not their job to do the job for you. It is your defense's job to do the job
if you're not coaching children, the final score doesn't matter to either team. I want to bury you.
Exactly. And I don't know. It means something to Jamal Williams to score a touchdown. It was contract money for next year if he's a free agent. Like stuff like that matters. So because they look at the stats. They don't go back and go, well, your only touchdown was on this play when they weren't really playing you to play you. Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with teams scoring points, and I don't really give a shit. They did it for him. The whole team agreed to do it. They wanted to do it for the dude. I respect that. It's no different than when the Niners were way up earlier this season, and they were trying to get Christian McCaffrey his record, and they just kept throwing to him. And they were trying to score even though they were up by 3 touchdowns. Nobody cared then.
Listen, Puka Nacua yesterday when he was going for the record, the 49ers were double teaming him on every play. Every play.
Yeah.
Grabbing him, holding him, 2 guys in his face the whole time.
The coach told him victory. But it's... Okay, so when a coach makes a play call into the game, are you not allowed to audible out of it and make your own play?
Yeah,
I don't.
The only problem and the only argument I can see in the whole thing is they should have audibled also out of victory formation.
Yes, that I would argue with. I agree with. But if your coach says victory formation and you want to score, I don't have a problem with you scoring.
Yeah. Would it have been? Would you guys have had the same problem if Honey Badger had just, made it the extra 2 yards into the end zone?
If he didn't stop, if he wasn't celebrating on his way and not paying attention to the fact that he was getting caught, he would have scored anyway.
Listen, coaches don't follow instructions. Owners don't follow instructions. That's the whole point. And it wasn't just Jameis. It was they voted for it.
The whole team, the whole offensive unit on the field.
It just tells you that Dennis Allen needs to be fired.
That's what I was about to say. It shows you that Dennis Allen doesn't command the respect of his team. You wouldn't see, and as bad as the Patriots are, you wouldn't see a Patriot player do that to Bill Belichick. You wouldn't see a teammate do that to Kyle Shanahan. They respect him and listen to them. Dennis Allen does not have that locker room. That's what I learned.
Well, that's fine. It definitely, if you look at the differences in the people who are mad at it and who aren't, it's a generational thing.
It's the same thing of like, I don't know. I know you're supposed to respect your coach and listen to your coach, but you wanted to score the touchdown. You were at the 1 yard line. And as Jameis said, the guy returned it to an interception to the 1 yard line. Who doesn't want to punch that in just to say we got it?
And by the way, there were players from the Falcons organization who came out and said, great, just helps the rivalry.
I don't know. I just think it's asinine that people are this upset about someone making the gameplay.
Yeah, but listen. We saw the same people getting upset about this defending fucking the way Russell Wilson was benched. It's a business. You don't like it? Okay. It's not 1,000% ego. It's not Jameis's call. He just did what he was doing.
The whole team agreed. It wasn't about ego. It was about trying to get your teammate his only touchdown on the season.
It's the same thing that you saw with Seattle smoking the cigars after the win. It's the same thing you're seeing right now. Same argument. Like, oh, they're celebrating. They didn't even get in. It's like, bruh, they're celebrating some dude having a baby. Relax.
Yeah. And Jamal Williams, for those who don't know, one of the most classy dudes in football. And I don't say that just because he's a former Packer, because he was good with us, but never great. He was great with the Lions last year. 17 touchdowns, led the league. He got his only touchdown of the season at the end of the year. He deserved it. But for those who don't know how classy of a dude he is, he went to BYU. When he was attending BYU as a second-year player, after having a phenomenal freshman season, he had a girlfriend, and him and his girlfriend had a relationship that was serious, and they decided to have sex. BYU found out about it and suspended him for a full college football season because it's against BYU regulations to have sex with a student, even if you're a student, because you have to be married at BYU to have intercourse. Alabama and LSU both offered him scholarships to finish his last 2 years there so he could continue playing football. The man stayed loyal and stayed at BYU, said, I knew the rules. I broke the rules. I will stay here, and sat an entire season suspended instead of going to a top school like LSU and Alabama, and then came back his senior season and played for BYU. The dude is a really classy, respectful dude, and the team wanted to give him a touchdown. This could have been his final game. He is 30. Running backs at the age of 30 don't play football in today's NFL. They get just thrown into free agency and then come in when you need someone, like the Ravens taking Melvin Gordon and Dalvin Cook.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt with the Browns. Like, he might not ever play again. And I don't have a problem with them saying, you know what, let's get a guy that we love, that's good for the team, the touchdown. You said, probably get out of victory formation so the Falcons can audible or timeout and make a play. That's fine. But
listen, at the end of the day, the Falcons on that defensive play looked how they looked defensively the rest of the day, so it really didn't matter.
Yeah. Melvin Gordon shouldn't be on the Ravens now. You guys signed Dalvin Cook. That should be the open door to release Melvin Gordon. You still have Gus Edwards. You still have Justice Hill. Now you have Dalvin Cook. You don't need Melvin Gordon. The dude fumbled, and I understand it was a torrential downpour, but he has a career history of fumbles.
Oh, yeah.
And he's already fumbling again. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think now with the signing of Dalvin Cook, which is hilarious, Melvin Gordon could just go bye-bye. His ball security is absolutely atrocious. Always has been, never improved. Actually probably got worse over time. So, I don't know, I didn't mind the Dalvin Cook signing because obviously it doesn't really cost you anything to sign him. He just goes to a contender. So I'll take his ball security over Melvin Gordon's anytime, even though he runs like he's now in quicksand. I don't know I think the most carries he got in a game was like 8. So yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah, and the Ravens do have a history of signing veteran guys, though, because they picked up. Who else did they pick up this year?
I'm still doing something, but Jadeveon Clowney and Kyle Van Noy, both veterans with 9.5 sacks.
Yeah, I was gonna say because the only other team that's really done that, Philly picked up Shaq Leonard, but apparently that proved to be a problem. Which is funny because that's why other people didn't want him, was they thought he'd become a problem. Let's see.
Now, Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney have been phenomenal for the Ravens, though. You talk about 2 great veteran signings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Van Noy's kind of weird. Like, people pick him up and he just like surges.
I know. I just think it's, he's one of those guys that's been around the league so long. I didn't know that his 9.5 sacks this year is a career high.
Yeah.
I thought he would have had more just because of his time in Baltimore. New England. I figured he at least had 9.5 at one point.
So Brown, the AJ Brown injury, they said he avoided an ACL tear, but they didn't say anything else.
Yeah, no, he has CTE, I think. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. His attitude is becoming Antonio Brown-like, so I'm just making that joke. But no, he is apparently fine and expected to be okay for Monday night.
No. He doesn't have CTE. He has PTSD, Philly traumatic stress disorder.
Dude, I've been listening to him talk and I've been watching things about him, and I'm like, you're starting to remind me of AB every freaking time you open your mouth lately.
Listen, until he's ripping off a jersey in the end zone,
walking off,
in a pool showing some people some questionable imagery, then we can start talking AB, okay? Talking about Tom Brady's ex-wife, then yeah, we can start talking there.
So Dennis Allen saved his job, apparently, according to Ian Rappaport. His job seems to be secure for at least another season.
I don't know how.
I don't either. But out of this game, Cam Jordan said that he is not retiring. He loves football too much in New Orleans. He's been dealing with an ankle injury that he has to get surgery on, but he didn't want to sit this season, so he is going to address it in the offseason and be good to go. So he claims he's playing one more year. And on the other side, this game solidified the firing of Arthur Smith. According to Rappaport, it came down to how they finished the season, losing 4 out of the last 5 and getting blown out in the final game were the nail in the coffin. So
that was
without Arthur Smith.
At least they did it faster than the Chargers.
Yeah. When he got there, they had the number 4 overall pick. They drafted Kyle Pitts. The following 2 years have been the number 8 overall pick. They drafted Drake London and Bijan Robinson, and now they have the number 8 overall pick again. So he did not elevate them beyond gaining 4 draft spots,
which is crazy because look at those draft picks, and you'd be like, "Oh, those draft picks would elevate any team."
Mm-hmm. So I expect them to go get a good offensive-minded head coach, get a quarterback in the draft. I've been staring at mocks a lot today. I've seen Jaden Daniels. I've seen Michael Penix. I've seen even J.J. McCarthy. There's a lot of options. They're also the favorite right now to land Justin Fields. So there's a lot of situations in Atlanta going on, but they will be looking for a new head coach, and that has begun. The next game, we don't have to talk about the game again, but we have to mention the fact that Jags somehow lost to the Titans, continuing their collapse out of the AFC South, which we had a bold prediction 5 weeks ago, and I said that they're going to miss the playoffs. They finally put that nail in for me. And a lot of fans from Philly are pointing out this is typical Doug Peterson, and they might have already reached their peak with him.
Possible, but they might have already reached their peak with Sirianni too.
But that's all that came out of that game. Derrick Henry's final game in Nashville. People are saying you can't guarantee that, but the way he took the mic,
he guaranteed it.
Yeah, the way he was talking and stuff. Yeah,
he already said he's not playing there again. He wants to finish out with trying to win.
I predicted yesterday in the Discord I'm in that he'll be a Cowboy next year. So
I would think. Well, unless the Cowboys can save some money on Dak.
I feel like it's going to be Dallas or Minnesota.
I think Dallas is a good spot. Minnesota's not bad. Tampa Bay?
It could be. Him and Rachaad White would be a nasty combo. Rachaad White is the receiving back, Derrick Henry out of the backfield more.
You're not paying your quarterback. You got to pay, some older guys, your wide receivers and whatnot, but might not be a bad landing spot.
Good weather, so
yeah.
You don't have to deal with the aging process as bad in the cold weather. You get to play in the Tampa Bay, and then your other 3 teams in your division are all in domes. So,
yeah, it just.
Well, no, the Panthers aren't, but still Carolina. But
yeah, I guess really it doesn't matter between Florida and Texas when it comes to income tax, right? It's the same.
I don't know.
I think Florida doesn't have an income tax either.
I don't ever look to move south. I love snow too much to care about what happens south of me now. Next game didn't really matter except for the fact that we picked up a major injury in Sam Laporta. The Lions beat the Vikings, but the big news was no Sam Laporta for the first round. Hyperextended knee out indefinitely. I haven't heard about Brian Branch, their star rookie safety. He had a wrist injury in this game and had to leave. He came back, but he is dealing with a bad wrist, but I think he'll play with it taped up. And Amon-Ra took a rib injury, but it's just bruised ribs, and he's expected to play anyway. So the only big loss for them is they did lose Sam Laporta.
Laporta does have an outside chance to play. They haven't ruled him out yet.
Yeah, but I have a very.
I think with the risk they won't play him.
If they were Monday, maybe I could see the extra day helping, but I just don't. I don't see it. But I did see a Detroit Lions fan make an interesting post. Why not call up Zach Ertz? Nobody's called him yet.
Yeah, trying to slot somebody in.
The Lions tight end coach is the guy who came from Arizona last year, so he worked with Zach Ertz last year. So I'm like, it would make sense. Get a guy that worked with Ertz, and 4th and 7, and you're already going for it at the 48. You're just showing that you need these points or you're buried. Oh, come on, Penix.
Yeah, they got to get rolling. They need a touchdown here.
Oh, he's wide open, and he missed him. Oh, he was Oh, that was a touchdown. That was a touchdown to Duze. All right. Seahawks, Cardinals doesn't really matter.
Cardinals cement their 4 spot. And Seattle wins on what? A missed field goal?
Yeah, missed field goal and moved to 9-8 to finish a winning record season and potentially save Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Not saying that Pete would have been gone, but 8-9 might have done it.
Hey, you remember that whole thing this season with Michigan knowing the plays of the other team? Ever notice they know when it's a pass play and they call it out every time?
Yeah.
Not like they defend it well, but
there's a reason Alabama. There's a reason Alabama said they couldn't actually use iPads and stuff during practice because they didn't know where the cameras were for Michigan, is what one of the players said.
Which is funny coming from Alabama because, well, they've had a lot of Patriot staffers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Next one, Giants, Eagles.
Other than the train wreck that has been the Eagles the last 6 weeks.
So I follow a guy on TikTok, and I assume Boogie follows him just because she's a Philly girl. I don't know his name, but he works for 94.1, whatever the fuck that's called, in Philly. Big time Eagles talker. He only talks about the Eagles, really. He said if they lose 27-10, 27-14, the Bucks here on Monday night, he thinks Sirianni's gone. And Colin Cowherd pointed out, this is a team that has fired Andy Reid, Doug Peterson only a year after a Super Bowl. He said Chip Kelly, but I don't know why that was a big deal. I don't think Chip Kelly was ever great. Moved off of Carson Wentz after a Super Bowl win, even though he didn't get the win, but he got them to that point. I mean, he was an MVP candidate until his ACL injury. Moved off Carson Wentz, moved off Nick Foles after winning the Super Bowl. He was like, this is a team that just moves off people if you don't show that you can continue to do it. And he's an interesting coach because if you look around the league and you look at like the young guys, because he's a young guy, right? So you got to compare him to the other young coaches. And you look around the league, Sean McVay brings offensive knowledge and value. So he keeps the offense flowing. Kyle Shanahan brings formations that no one else can fucking cover and an incredible offensive mind.
And turns every coach on his staff into a head coach.
Yeah. Matt LaFleur has turned this offense right around with a bunch of nobodies because he's a young offensive-minded coach. What is Nick Sirianni? Is he an offensive-minded coach? I don't know. Is he because he seems to suck without the guy in Indy that I can't think of the name of right now.
Shane Steichen.
He seems to be completely lost without him. The defense was completely a nightmare without Gannon. So is Sirianni actually a good coach, or does he need good coordinators to make him a good coach? And that was what Colin Cowherd said, and I have a hard time arguing against it.
By the way, 94 WIP Sports Radio, 94.1 WIP Sports Radio in Philly.
There you go.
Could have been talking about John Ritchie, Joe DiCamara.
I don't know. He's a young
Hugh Douglas.
He's a young dude who screams a metric ton about the Eagles.
Could have been the South Philly Sauce Show, you know.
Sometimes I have to turn him down because he yells so loud. Here you go. Hold on. I'll just pull it up because it's my last liked thing on Instagram. Hunter Brody.
Okay.
He's a host on 94.1, and I don't know his time. But, yeah, he yells a fuck ton about the Eagles. And he has been cussing about Nick Sirianni all week long. And he lost his mind with the way that the Eagles looked yesterday.
Well, he should have, because they looked god-awful.
Yeah, now you got Hurts injured. You got Brown dealing with an injury, but he'll play. Hurts will probably play, but I honestly don't think Philly has a shot.
Well, look, okay, right now you have no DeAndre Swift, no Devontae Smith, no AJ Brown. That's 2,000-yard receivers and 1,000-yard rusher who might not play.
Yeah, I know DeAndre Swift's an illness, or I think he was the illness. Yeah, he's the illness, so I feel like he'll be all right by Monday. I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet.
Not if it's like appendicitis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. or even the vid. I don't know the NFL's rules anymore, but he might have to miss.
Listen, you only have COVID if you test. If you don't test, you don't have it.
Yeah, but the NFL makes you test. God. Let's
Listen,
see.
Is that like the new PEDs you pay for like passing tests?
DeAndre Swift, Devontae Smith, Darius Slay, and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown are all right now listed as questionable. Reed Blankenship is also listed as questionable, and they lost Sidney Brown to a torn ACL yesterday, so that didn't help their defense get any better.
And Jalen Hurts did dislocate the middle finger on his throwing hand.
All right, we appreciate it. Yeah, which isn't the most important finger, but it's a fairly relative finger to the way the spiral releases your hand. So I'm not. Look, we know I keep a notebook of all of our picks and everything else and write it all down, right? So I already put the games in for once they announce the games. I already put them in the notebook. I haven't picked anything because I know we got to pick Saturdays today, and we'll readjust based on how things happen. The only game I've picked is the Buccaneers and Eagles game. I don't even give a fuck about the injuries. I already wrote the Bucs.
I'm telling you, man. That one's going to be a strange game.
They're the only one I'm confident in, and it's not because I think the Bucs are a great team. Trust me, I do not believe we saw it against the Panthers yesterday. I mean, 6-0 or 9-0. Sorry, I'm sorry, but that's a game.
Baker's a little banged up too.
Yeah, but you can be banged up. But Rachaad White couldn't do anything, and the whole offense sucked. But that being said, their defense is really getting better. Carlton Davis returning from his long injury has really helped them out. And I made a giant Facebook post today about how just because
I don't know if there's a team. Well, I'll say this: of the teams in the playoffs, there's only one team that gets beat worse over the top than Philly, and it's Detroit.
Yeah,
like you can take the top off on Philly and Detroit. I mean, if Tyrod did it like multiple times.
Yep.
So,
no, some dude, he's a diehard Eagles fan. He goes, you guys just clearly don't know ball if you think the Eagles are one of the weaker teams in football. And I was like, just because we don't agree with your opinion doesn't mean we don't know ball. That's why I made a post about like, just because people don't agree with you doesn't mean they don't know something. They just have different opinions.
Dude, since Philly clinched a playoff spot, they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Well, they were 10-1 and they finished 11-6. I mean, 1-5 down that stretch. The only team that was just as bad is the Panthers. Won one game during that stretch. That is the only team during that entire stretch that only won one game besides Philly. They're on the same fucking level as the Carolina Panthers.
6 games without scoring a touchdown this year.
Yeah. They're on the same level as the Panthers over the last 7 games. Or 6 games. I don't like there's nobody telling me that this is a good team right now.
I also like the Dallas was it Dallas Goedert's explanation. Ever since we clinched the playoffs, we've just been waiting for the playoffs. I'll tell you what, that's not a good strategy.
Well, okay, so I actually had to write this down because I knew I would forget, because I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to forget. Didn't their Chiefs struggle to – they struggled, but they didn't lose 6 games and go 1-6. I mean, hell, they won the last 3 weeks of the season. Ever since their loss to Buffalo, they've won. Not pretty wins, but they've won. So I had to send myself this because I was going to forget. So Nick Sirianni, and this is after the Cardinals game. So this is not after the Giants game. This is after the Cardinals game. They look terrible, but they're winning games, so it doesn't really matter in the end. He said, we don't change our process based on our results. What? That is the craziest fucking thing I have ever heard out of a head coach's mouth.
So essentially, you're going to do the same thing over and over, even if you lose games?
Yeah, I was
listening to that. Isn't that the definition of insanity?
Yeah, and that was that dude from the sports radio was the one that actually pointed that out, and I had to Google it to make sure he was accurate because I don't know. I know he works for a sports radio station, but they're inaccurate sometimes. So, and it was straight up what Nick Sirianni said after the game against the Cardinals when he was asked what was going to change. He said, we don't change our process based on our results. And I don't understand how you can have that concept.
That's a horrible concept to have in a league that essentially, if you don't change at halftime, you lose games, and that's exactly what happens to Philly.
Mm-hmm.
They literally run, like I said, their offense lacks any creativity. It's the same plays over and over again.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but they're, in my opinion, they're the potentially the worst team in the playoffs. People are arguing Pittsburgh is. I kind of am impartial in that situation. Like, I don't know how they're a 10-point underdog next week. I know it's Buffalo, but like Pittsburgh's defense. I mean, I guess no TJ Watt. I don't know if that.
Yeah,
really...
but Pittsburgh's like one of those teams that got in that I don't think is an actual playoff team.
I mean, yeah, they got in because they beat the Ravens by 7 in a torrential downpour while the Ravens were playing nobody. Harley,
but again, went 5-1 in that division.
Yeah, which I do have to point out was the division where none of the quarterbacks but Lamar played the whole season. So it comes and goes. But I meant to mention this when we talked about the Jags getting eliminated. I want to thank the WWE because this made my day. For those who don't know, WWE and AEW are the rival wrestling companies in America. And AEW is run by Tony Khan, who's the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars and who is the son of Shad Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he tweeted, and so did the Jags tweeted right before the game, an hour before the game, he tweeted and said, playoff tickets are on sale now. # Duval. And then they lost the game. So WWE tweeted them a meme with the Kurt Angle meme in front of his house with his eyes real wide. I couldn't stop laughing.
Listen, never celebrate early, man. That's one thing you got to learn is never celebrate early. That never ends well, never ages well.
I was like, I don't know how you thought you playoff tickets available now. Oh, John Harbaugh's at the game.
Yeah, that was the one nice thing about Baltimore getting the bye was he could be at the game.
Look at you flying out to Houston to be with your big brother. By the way, that stadium needs some work. I don't know if you saw because they're getting that big storm down there. It was raining through the roof earlier in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. I meant to mention that they posted about tickets being on sale. And that was good. Anyway, yeah, sorry, Boogie. I don't know. I think the Eagles have the talent. They have so much talent on the roster. But they've got to figure out if Nick Sirianni's it or if it's just the coordinators and they need to go get themselves better coordinators. I mean, look at the Ravens. Last year, the Ravens had all the talent besides wide receivers, but they couldn't function. The offense was just stagnant. It was boring. It was predictable. They got rid of I don't remember his name. I've been calling him out for years.
Oh, yeah. God, how did you forget that name?
I don't know. I was going to say Wink Martindale, but that's the former defensive coordinator that I used to call out that's now with the Giants.
Well, not anymore.
Oh, he got fired? I heard that he was...
No, he resigned today.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Well, there he goes. Greg Roman.
Yeah.
Got it. So they replaced Greg Roman with Todd Monken in this offseason and the offense explodes. So for the Seahawks, it might honestly... I mean, the Eagles, it might honestly just be a coordinator issue. I don't know.
Different types of bird, Matt. Different types of bird.
Yeah. The Seahawks are sea chickens. I know. I just sometimes forget.
Oh, so they're seagulls.
But this Eagles fan claim goes, you guys on your show say that Jalen Hurts sucks. I was like, we have never once. We actually love Jalen Hurts.
I don't love Jalen Hurts. I don't know if he's a $50 million quarterback because he's only done it for 1 year. But I don't know if he's worth he obviously he's one of the better guys in the game at this time.
I think him and Kyler Murray are very similar, and I think they're both equally talented. I just think that he needs some. First off, the chemistry in the locker room has to get fixed.
They just need some diversity of plays. You need to if you look at the motion that Miami runs or that San Francisco runs, like they run the same plays just like the Eagles do, but you just don't know because it comes at you from different looks.
Yeah. Yeah, go get LaFleur, not Matt, his brother. Go get him to be offensive coordinator.
Anybody from the Shanahan coaching tree.
Yeah. I think he's in McVay right now, so. Oh, no. No.
Hold on. I think I'm behind you, so don't say anything.
It's not a play. Well, it's based off of a play, but
Oh. Was it an arm? Or a hand?
he immediately holds the bicep of the arm he tackled with, and he might have torn a bicep on that. It might just be
Yeah.
bruised. I don't know.
Yeah, he got him one up.
He's their top corner. He's a guy that's expected to go early round 2, so that would suck.
Yeah, it looks like he's clutching the elbow or bicep.
Yeah.
It could just be like one of those stingers that rocks you and it feels like the muscle's terrible.
Yeah, like when you get that knee,
Like a knee to the thigh.
Yeah, or the knee, or when people need a knee accidentally, like that shit hurts, but you're fine.
Yeah, you either got to keep it moving or it's going to swell.
Yeah. All right. So the next one was Jets Pats. Again, not really anything to talk about except for the fact that they've ended their 15-game losing streak to the Pats. I guess that's it.
Hey, I've seen that running back up there. He's good.
Oh, Brees Hall.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, I saw a mock today by, I don't remember, ESPN or Fox Sports, but they had Joe Alt going 3rd overall to the Patriots, taking a left tackle instead of worrying about the quarterback, and it made me chuckle.
I've seen a few mock drafts where they take Jaden Daniels at 3.
The PFF has that, and I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't see them just going, let's get the O-line and get a veteran quarterback, because I've seen people going, well, if they get a veteran, it'll be Russell or it'll be Trubisky, and I was like, please no.
I just go away from that. That would be the Bill Belichick way. Let's not do that.
Right? Like, please no. I like when the AFC East, I like when all divisions are competitive. So I really want to see the Pats pick it up, because the Jets will pick it up next year with Rodgers at quarterback. So
listen, he's got to survive another major injury with that offensive line. So
yeah, he's had 2 broken collarbones, the same one twice, and now he's had this Achilles tear. So the man is riddled up with injuries. So who knows?
He's turning into Mr. Glass.
We didn't talk about this game yet. I gotta let Harley out. He won't stop whining, so I'm gonna give it to you, and then I'm gonna go let him out to go pee real quick. Texans Colts Saturday night.
Oh, okay. Texans Colts. This one was a fun one. Obviously Texans win and end up winning their division because the Jaguars lose, so the Texans get in at 10-7. Great shots after the game of D'Amico Ryans in the hallway. Kind of himself with his thoughts. What a game. To come out and just that first throw from CJ Stroud for like a 72-yard touchdown. I actually was texting Matt at the time and I said, do you think the entire Carolina Panthers staff is just crying after seeing that throw? Because that's what they could have had. But the owner, David Tepper, said, no, we want Bryce Young. And fired a coach after 8 games for the second time. And now the Carolina Panthers GM is fired. And Houston looks to be rolling with CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, obviously Tank Dell out with an injury. Nico Collins looks like a stud with CJ Stroud at his quarterback. I think he went for like 175 yards and it was either 1 or 2 touchdowns. Yeah, the Texans, they definitely earned it. Like I was saying about just the draft, the guys they drafted. So Stroud, obviously, you've seen his accomplishments. He's throwing touchdowns and a very low interception rate. Will Anderson Jr., who they took at the 3rd, they moved up and took 3rd in the draft. He has the 2nd highest pass rush or 3rd highest pass rush win rate percentage behind Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. So that's how good he is as a rookie rushing the quarterback of the opposing team. And then Tank Dell to pick him later and have him be the stud he was until he went down with that broken leg is huge. Now, I think they're playing with house money. Obviously, this is getting to the playoffs much faster than they expected. So if they don't win this game, their first game of the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't think they'd be disappointed. I think making the playoffs, winning the division. That's all huge right now. So there'll be a little emotional, and we'll see. I mean, Stroud has the potential to be a game breaker for his offense. We just got to see how they hold up against other playoff teams. And they've had big games against good teams, but these moments start to get to teams and things like that. So we'll see. I kind of like Houston as the potential upset of the first round, but I'm not there yet. I really got to look at some of the matchups in the game and things like that. But overall, what an incredible season so far for Houston. And to be going to Cleveland where they offloaded Deshaun Watson is just unbelievable.
I want to point out that they have the second most cap space available entering next season.
Oh, yeah. And they'll be a destination. Now, they'll be a destination.
And for those who are like, well, they traded so much to get Will Anderson at 3 because they traded their first-round pick this year and their second-round pick. They still have a first. They have the Browns' number 1 pick this year.
Yeah.
So not only do they have the second most cap space and made that trade, they've still got a first-rounder. It might be a late first-rounder, but they still got one. Unbelievable. I hope they get Mike Evans. I was talking, there's a Texans fan in that Discord I'm in. He was like, dude, Mike Evans is my number 1. He goes, him and Derrick Henry. I was like, you don't need Derrick Henry. Re-sign Devin Singletary to a reasonable contract and go get a rookie in the draft to back him up.
Yeah, the Dameon Pierce thing, like where, what?
He's just falling off. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. I thought he was going to be a stud, but no, I got to talk about it with you because I'm curious of your opinion because I talked to my dad about it and my dad thought it was a good call. I don't. Why the fuck do you take Jonathan Taylor out in that situation?
Probably just the play sheet at the time. They just pick plays. I don't mind it. The ball did hit the guy's hands. It was a little behind him.
It was a little low end behind him, but yeah,
so,
it hit him right in the palms.
So it's kind of both of their faults. So I don't mind the call.
I'm like, if you're going to take JT
he was
out,
wide open. He was wide open.
Oh, 100% wide open. He could have potentially walked it in. But that blew my mind. JT carried that team in that game because Gardner is just truly a backup. Let's be honest. I'm really excited to see what they look like next year with Anthony Richardson. People are talking about how great Houston is because I love all of it. I love everything about Houston right now. But man, they have a team down there in Indy that might be just as terrifying when they get their young guy.
Oh, if that defense can keep it up with the way they turn the ball over.
Yeah. Zaire Franklin is so good in the middle of the field, and then Kenny Moore is just like I don't even know how to explain him. He's a corner, but he feels like he plays more like a safety. He's all over the field.
Yeah.
But look, Indy has nothing to hang their head on. I don't remember who posted it. It was Fox. Hold on. Fox, NFL and Fox posted this today. They posted the preseason betting over-unders, what teams were supposed to finish with wins in the AFC. I don't know why they didn't do it in the NFC. But they posted the AFC wins and loss expectancy entering the season according to the betting odds. The Colts were expected to have 6.5 wins was the projection. So obviously somewhere between 6 and 7. They wound up with 9. The Texans also 6.5 wound up with 10. These two teams overachieved, and they honestly can hang their head on that. Like the Colts have nothing to be. I've seen Colts fans raging and
the Colts have nothing to listen. You did it with a backup QB.
Yeah, and your receiving core is still like Pittman is considered a veteran, but he's only a 3-year vet. Like you have a very
and you don't even know that he's a true one. I mean, he can command one on that team, but if you brought in a stud,
yeah, move Pittman to the 2, Josh Downs to the 3, and then go get yourself a tight end.
Yeah.
No, the Colts they should be very happy with how they finished the season. But no, I loved that game. Figured it was a good game to cover while I let Harley out.
It was essentially a playoff game.
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought that was what I'm hoping to see out of some of the games next week or this weekend. All right, other games to breeze over. Rams, Niners, Darnold versus Wentz. Didn't really matter. The Rams needed to win so they could get the 6th seed to set up the script writers. We'll talk about what we mean with that later. Because if they lost, they would have been the 7, and that script would have ended. Bucks, Panthers. Bucks win 9-0 with an injured Baker Mayfield, who got hurt again, by the way, with a different injury in this game.
But earned himself $1 million.
Yep. Happy for Baker. He deserves it. He played – I didn't like him in Cleveland because he came in with that I'm the best quarterback ever and was very arrogant for not playing good football. But he has mellowed out, become a team leader, and he plays harder than anyone on the goddamn NFL. Nobody can tell me there's a guy out there in the NFL that doesn't want it more than him. That dude he'll lower his shoulder, rib injuries and all yesterday. He was making running plays and lowering his shoulder into tackles to get first downs.
I don't know. The only guy I might put up there might be Max Crosby.
Yeah, maybe. He says he does it because it helps fight his addiction. And I'm like, if that's what you need, do it. Because I love watching you do it.
Guy's got absolutely no quit.
We've seen him get pushed down to the ground, get up and just chase the quarterback down the field. I'm like, oh, no, there's Max. But good for the Bucs, win the division 4th straight time. They're the only team in the NFC to win their division 4 consecutive seasons at the current moment. All the other playoff teams have been in and out. The NFC East hasn't had a repeat champion in like 13 years or some shit. That's crazy. Broncos, Raiders, irrelevant except for Antonio Pierce wins another one and deserves to keep his goddamn job, but there's no guarantee that that's what happens.
You never know with bowl cut, you know?
Mark Davis is a complete idiot.
Just look at the haircut and you tell me that's a man who knows what he's doing.
Right? So, not much else to talk about except for the fact that the Broncos lost another one. Sean Payton finishes with a really bad, disappointing season. I still have it up. They were projected not that high, 8.5 wins. They wound up with 8, so just under. The Raiders were only projected 6.5, finished with 8. So, Chiefs, Chargers, completely. Go ahead. Sorry.
Just on the Sean Payton thing, I think it's probably in their best interest. They did make the Russell Wilson move, and they are going to move off him.
Yeah,
I just don't think they fit. It's just not like we talk about, quarterbacks getting drafted. Well, sometimes you just don't fit. And the Broncos kind of made one bad decision and tried to rectify it with a good decision. And I think Sean Payton is a good decision. But I don't think we're going to see that decision come to fruition for at least another 2 years.
Yeah, they need to get the quarterback now. Stidham's still not it, so they need to go figure out the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a long discussion about what they do there going forward between Sean Payton and upper management, and we'll see what the GM situation in Denver looks like in the next year or two.
Yeah, because you also have to deal with the fact that Judy and Sutton are free agents at the end of the season.
Judy, not the biggest loss. Sutton, that one would hurt.
Yeah, he's a good touchdown threat. He's not great in the open field, but man, in the red zone, he is phenomenally useful. Chiefs Chargers was the next one. Easton Stick versus Blaine Gabbert. I didn't even watch. Every time they put on red zone, I just looked at my phone.
Highlight of the game: Chris Jones getting his $1.25 million.
I loved that his entire team celebrated with him. Made me real happy to see that.
Well, he got close a couple times, and Easton Stick just threw the ball away. It's like, are you fucking me, man? Just let him get it. You know what's funny is they actually
to be fair, Easton Stick doesn't want to get murdered. Have you seen Chris Jones?
Yeah. There was a couple guys talking about a guy who used to play a guard in the NFL took over the Dan Patrick show because Dan couldn't be there for the day. And he was talking about back in the day when guys had incentives come up, they'd come to the line and be like, yo, guy says if you let him get a sack and a half today, he's paying $50,000 to each guy. And he goes, they'd come to deals. He goes, you'd throw that out there early and you think it's a joke, but come the third quarter and he's got one and needs another half, he might come back with a better offer. I'm like, that's hilarious, dude. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense, though. Like, some guys really go after it and will make sure the guys with incentives get them, like the whole Puka Nakua thing, which we didn't talk about, but
how the Niners were double teaming the dude trying to get his record.
Yeah, he only needed a couple catches and like 25 yards or something like that. So he got it in 2 catches back to back. But some guys, they want to make it hard, and it's a joke, but not a joke at the same time, because they all obviously don't like fucking with each other's money.
Yeah, from my understanding that they were trying to get it done in the first half because they didn't want to keep playing him to risk the injury. So when they came out in the second half, the entire game plan was apparently just get the ball to Nakua until he gets the record, because he came out needing the 2 catches. Right. So they just threw it, like you said, back to back to him to get him.
And he got both records on back-to-back plays.
Yep, and then got out of the game and went and celebrated with his mama. Next one was Cowboys Commanders. Could give 2 fucks less that I got that wrong. I just was trying to play the devil's advocate of Cowboys suck on the road.
Except against the Commanders, turns out.
They looked really bad at the first half, and then they just completely dismantled the Commanders.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, typical day, 13 catches, nearly 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
The finish is only like 34 yards or something, 38 yards behind Tyreek Hill for the lead in receiving yards. Who would have thought somebody could have caught Tyreek? That was crazy.
Tyreek did miss a whole game.
Yeah. Granted, CD misses about 8 when they go on the road.
No. That's Dak and the rest of the offense.
All right, Browns-Bengals was the only other one before Sunday night and the Packers game, and Browns-Bengals was just everybody that didn't play football before playing for the Browns.
Jeff Driscoll, baby. Jeff Driscoll.
Jake Browning after the game said he truly believes he's one of the top 32 quarterbacks in the league and could be a starter next year.
I don't know. I might not argue that. He could definitely start for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and he'll get some fans in the stadiums now because his pictures of his girlfriend are going all over the internet.
Man, nowadays. That jumpsuit she was wearing.
They're going. Everyone in the world is talking about her.
Let's just say there was little left to the imagination. But listen, when you're supporting your man and you want him to go make that paper, listen, all you can do, bring in fans, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
bring in fans.
She brought in some fans, all right. Maybe some fans to cool down some thirsty men in the crowd, but
Bengals finished with a winning record. So the AFC North is the first time in NFL history a division has completely finished with a winning record. So
no, first time in history since 1935.
Oh, since the Super Bowl era. Well, that's even before the Super Bowl era.
Since before World War I, it hadn't happened.
So they all finished with a winning record. Proves how good the AFC North is, even with Jake Browning playing and not Joe Burrow for most of the season. The Browns starting 4 different quarterbacks. The Steelers starting Kenny Pickett for 7 games. That's a pretty detrimental thing to do to your offense.
And starting Trubisky for a couple.
Yeah, those are detrimental things to your offense when you have Mason Rudolph, who apparently can sling it.
Listen, that guy understands the assignment. Pickens might be the most athletic guy on the field. I might try and throw him the ball a lot.
And then when people double him, Deontay Johnson's pretty damn good. And then he's wide open. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And somehow Najee Harris was busting out 100-yard games for him.
Can we point out that this reminds me a lot, except for the Carson Wentz being an almost MVP, that Mason Rudolph's starting to remind me a little bit of a Nick Foles for the Philadelphia Eagles right here, coming in right before the playoffs, writing the offense.
Are they gonna have the pity special?
Pity special. On a note similar to that, though, the Kansas City Chiefs, for those who are very like me and doubting that they're going to survive the playoffs, Dot will appreciate this little bit of tidbit information and research, but wound up having the exact same type of month as the 2018 in December as the 2018 New England Patriots, who had an aging tight end who was not putting up 1,000-yard seasons, which he would have if they would have let him play. He was 16 yards short, but didn't have wide receivers. Tom Brady had no wide receivers in that 2018 Patriots. They wound up the 3 seed in the AFC and won the Super Bowl because of a defense and because of a special quarterback. This Kansas City Chiefs team is very similar to that 2018 Patriots. Oh, and a Hall of Fame head coach. So that doesn't convince me any, but if there's Chiefs fans out there having a little doubt.
There is one thing I'm convinced of, though. Okay? Is if you looked at the schedule, where does their playoff game, what channel does their playoff game fall to?
Peacock!
Right. The one you have to pay for. And guess what? They got all the Swifties willing to pay for 1 month subscriptions to Peacock because Tay-Tay's going to be there.
Yeah, and Joe Coy made a Tay-Tay joke at the Golden Globes yesterday.
Uh-oh. Well, he's going to start getting death threats.
She looked pissed. Like, she looked legit furious. It's fucking hilarious.
He's about to be in real trouble. That whole swatting thing's going around. I have a feeling he might get one.
He was the host, and he started the night by saying, here's the difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL. The Golden Globes will give you less camera shots of Taylor Swift. And she looked fucking livid.
I thought the best joke of the night was Jim Gaffigan.
I didn't watch the Golden Globes. I just saw that. I don't know.
Jim Gaffigan goes, I'd like to start with the fact that I'm not a pedophile on Epstein's list, and I think that deserves an award.
I'm going to give Cloud some water. I'll be right back.
Oh, man. He's good.
Gaffigan is funny. I also want to point out that there is one other thing that was funny about the Golden Globes last night. Freddie Freeman was in the picture behind Taylor when that moment happened. And his wife posted the picture of Freddie and goes, of course my fucking husband's in the photo. He's not a Swiftie and I am. And I'm cut off because she's standing in front of me. She was all upset about not being in the photo with Taylor. But I love Freddie. I love his wife too. She's awesome. But Bears, Packers, 2 games left, and then we have our predictions for the, awards for the season. I was nervous. The Bears did a good job making me nervous.
Yes, but I think that game kind of cemented Justin Fields not being a Chicago Bear anymore.
And it's as Colin said, man, you look across your division and one team consistently gets the quarterback right, and that quarterback has now beat you twice in the first season as a starter. And Justin Fields is now 0-6 against the Packers.
Threw 5 touchdowns since November.
Yeah, and he was like, it's time to just move on. He goes, Fields is talented. Somebody will take him. Somebody will trade for him. But the Bears have to try again with somebody else.
And, they make a valid point. They did give him pieces. I don't know if he got necessarily 100% fair shot, but they did make improvements and try to get him pieces. I just don't know if it was quick enough. And, I mean, when you look at, like you said, when you look at Jordan Love, when you look at CJ Stroud, it's instantaneous, man. It really is. Like, Jordan Love took a little bit, but that team is like the 5th youngest team to ever make the playoffs, ever.
Who?
The Packers.
They're the youngest.
They had some metric they adjusted it by. They would technically be the 5th youngest.
Oh, because if you include Bakhtiari and a couple other guys, they go up the list a good bit. But yeah, and offensively, they are the youngest. Their average. Oh,
offensively, they are the youngest. Yes.
Yeah, on offense, their average age is like 24.3 or some shit. It's
so
crazy.
I guess seeing Phil play the way I did and Chicago kind of picking it up did tint the glasses a little bit, but I just think that performance was where he could have cemented himself as safe, and he did the exact opposite.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of people suggest that they'd take Drake May at 1.
Well, if I
can't stop seeing Caleb Williams to the Commanders at 2. But I don't know. Part of me feels like that's the Bryce Young.
Caleb is athletic, not quite like Justin, but a much better thrower. It would be a pretty much slot in quarterback.
I think Caleb is better than Drake May right now.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. I don't know why I keep seeing it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But Who knows? The Bears got a lot of decisions to make. They got to wait. I mean, they still have to sit on their hands because they don't have a clue what's happening yet. Marvin Harrison hasn't declared, neither is Caleb Williams. So, I mean, the top two players in the draft, in my opinion, talent-wise, both still have yet to declare. So,
yeah, maybe the Bears just scare them both off.
I mean, look at the first two teams picking. The Bears, who have had a history of not being consistently good, especially on offense over the last 30 years, and the Commanders.
Now, the Commanders thing that they have is new owner, new execs. They can try and sell that and be like that exec they brought in that built literally the Golden State dynasty. Could just be like, look at my accomplishments.
Yeah. And if they get the right coach, you never know. Coaches and all that will be figured out long before the draft. So I highly suggest that teams like the Commanders get your coach figured out potentially within the week. It does happen pretty commonly nowadays. It just depends on if the Rams are going to let you interview your Raheem Morris. It depends if the Lions are going to let you interview their two guys. Because if they can get their coach at least narrowed down, it helps maybe like if, Caleb's on the fence and he knows he might go to the Commanders, he might want to know who's coaching him.
Right.
I was a little shocked we didn't see Eberflus fired today.
I don't know if they're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think they're going to give him another full season. I'm still not sold on him being good for the Bears, but constantly blowing leads. I mean, I know they didn't blow a lead yesterday, but constantly blowing leads is just something that he's been good with. But we'll see what happens with them. The last game, Bills-Dolphins. Bills win because of a punt return on a very lackluster day on the offensive side of the field. Both teams were just very sluggish yesterday. I mean, I know the Dolphins were missing Waddle and Mostert, but they were very slow yesterday. I don't know. I was expecting a shootout. Didn't get a shootout. This sets up the Bills hosting the Steelers and the Dolphins going to visit -2 temperature, game time temperature of Kansas City on Saturday night. Don't know how I feel about that matchup yet. We have to pick it tonight, but I've got to really think about it.
Yeah.
The first half stats, the Michigan Wolverines have 209 rushing yards.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I mean, it's 17-10. But
yeah, but literally that's their game. They don't care.
Yeah.
So the Jaguars keep Doug Peterson, but fired defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell and multiple defensive assistants on Monday.
Interesting, considering their offense was the biggest problem this season.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay. So, in addition to Caldwell, they fired defensive line coach Brenson Buckner, passing game coordinator, cornerbacks coach Deshae Townsend, inside linebackers coach Tony Gilbert, safeties coach Cody Grimm, senior defensive assistant Bob Sutton, and defensive quality control coaches T. Mitchell and Sean Colina. There was only 3 guys retained from the defense, coach-wise.
That's crazy.
This kind of reminds me of the McDermott thing. Like, yeah, we're going to point the finger over here, then we're going to point the finger over here, and then it's on us, and we got to fucking figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they shouldn't have lost that game to the Titans, but that offense struggled. Trevor Lawrence threw 2 bad picks. He also overthrew Ridley at the end. He also overthrew the 2 crossing routes on 4th down. I don't know.
You notice that a lot of wide receivers, those balls that are hitting them in like the hands, fingertips that are barely overthrown, wide receivers don't dive for those anymore.
It's because they're afraid of getting decapitated, I guess, by the safety coming across the field.
He was 5 yards beyond the closest defender.
I know. I've said it before. I don't know why you don't lay out and just grab that ball out of the air. But I don't know. I've said that a lot lately, that there's not a lot of diving by receivers.
I mean, obviously the Pittman hit makes you think, okay, maybe I don't dive in that situation.
I wouldn't dive running across the field between the numbers, but down the field, I think you're okay.
You're definitely better off down the field.
Yeah, and towards the sideline. I think you're okay. It's odd because that's one of the things I said when Ridley missed that ball off the edge of the fingertips. Why didn't you lay out? But it is what it is. I mean, Trevor Lawrence missed the throws after that, so it's not obviously just on Ridley, but Trevor Lawrence has really concerned me what I'm seeing out of him because I sent you that stat. Him and Daniel Jones' stats. Whew.
Well, listen, Daniel Jones making 140 mil, so
yeah. I mean, we talked about it. T-Law. It's T-Law, Tua, and there's one other name. I forgot who it was. Who's young that might need Fields, but T-Law, Fields, Tua, and somebody. Jared Goff.
Oh yeah,
all have contract at the end of 2024. Will all be contract.
What are we going into for Love? It's his 4th year.
They have until March something to pick up his 5th year.
Okay, which I mean
March 2nd.
Well, actually, wait, didn't he sign that $8 million a season for 2 years?
Hold on. Maybe
didn't he sign that weird contract?
Yeah, he did. I think. Hold on. J Love. That's not a thing I want to type in. Hold on. Let me type in Jordan.
Listen, I don't know what kind of.
I typed in Love contract.
Oh, yeah. Good luck with that search. That's a risky search.
All right. Jordan Love. Yeah, so he's got the 2-year extent now. This is a really weird deal. Now it goes till 2025. And then they have to pick up the option of the 2-year bonus of 2026 and 2027. So he's a free agent at the end of next season, unless they pick up the option.
Okay, so
which it's a full 2-year option, but he only costs $5 million next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a weird contract. It was a tiny amount for 2 years, but it was like a prove it contract, you know.
Yeah, the funny thing is 2026 and 2027 on that contract, he's $1.7 million each year. With how he's playing right now, I'm like, you pick up that option. Because even if you don't work out, you have a $1.7 million backup. That's a good deal.
Yeah, from what you've seen out of him, for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, even if he's a backups nowadays get paid like $4 million, so you're still saving money. But all right, so we're gonna do our season awards, and then we'll do. Actually, I was gonna write them down to see how close we are when they get announced in 3 weeks. And then we're gonna talk about the playoffs. We have to pick Saturday's games, and then we'll be live Sunday before the rest. Harley, dude, just sitting over there licking away, dude. It's fucking weird. So we'll start with the big award of MVP. I don't think we can debate, really. I feel like this is kind of open and closed at this point, who we think's getting MVP. But I'll let you start it in case I'm wrong.
I mean, it's going to be Lamar.
Okay.
Let's not overthink this. This is how it always goes. Either
for those who don't remember, playoffs do not impact this award.
No. Basically, it's already a one award.
Yeah, they just don't announce it until the day before the Super Bowl, where they announced, or day before the Pro Bowl. Day before the Pro Bowl.
And he doesn't have naughty numbers, but generally, the MVP award goes to either the first or second seed of either conference's quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah. And Lamar just did some crazy. He's just done some things, and and if you look at the teams him and his team have, I mean, a lot of it's his defense, but you look at the teams that they blew out, like the Niners, the Lions, the Seahawks, like blew out competitors, which helps his case significantly.
I think honestly, if I take second place right now, you're probably looking at Dak or Josh Allen.
Unfortunately, I have to agree.
And then you're probably looking at somebody like CMC or Tyreek because it's just not an award they win.
Yeah, exactly. All right, both agree with Lamar. How about Coach of the Year? Because this is interesting. I actually think this is a very interesting topic.
This one's kind of nuts. What do you need?
Your wiener.
Yeah, well, you can't have that. Okay. No, Coach of the Year.
I'm really hoping that's Meg and not your mom.
It is Meg. Coach of the Year. Oh God, this is a tough one because I think it could have gone a few ways, but I'd have to go. Probably go Cleveland Browns coach. Just because of how they've looked with Flacco and dealing with a massive injury to Nick Chubb and the way that defense has rallied, and then on the way that defense played all year long. Now, mind you, they were different on the road than at home, kind of like Dallas, but just to see them rally around Jerome Ford and Joe Flacco and get through the season to one of their best seasons, making the playoffs. They're a scary team going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think D'Amico Ryans definitely had us a shot, but I think D'Amico Ryans really has played with the guys he was given. Stefanski, outside of his defensive guys, it's been a carousel. MCDC probably getting some looks, but with what they did down the stretch in his coaching, there's questions there.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, it is Stefanski. Being 11-5 with a guy you pulled off a couch, you lost your $240 million quarterback, albeit I think Flacco's actually better than that quarterback.
You should put that guy on the couch and give this guy the $240 million.
Yeah. You tried DTR. That didn't work. You went with Flacco. You had somebody else because there was 4 quarterbacks. I don't even remember. Oh, PJ Walker.
Yeah, I was going to say Walker.
So, it's just you play in the AFC North, all above 500. You finished 11-5, 11-6, sorry. I can't not put Stefanski just because of all the things he overcame. I do have D'Amico and John Harbaugh as a close second and third. Only reason I have John there is because you went 13-4, and you just kind of curb stomped a lot of teams that you wouldn't expect him to. So I kind of got to give him a little nod. But no, I agree with Kevin Stefanski. It's hard not to.
And honestly, I think if the Vikings had finished stronger, their coach would definitely get a look as well.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. Unfortunately for him, the quarterback situation did not work out like it did for the Browns. Mullins is not Joe Flacco.
Well, he is, but he also throws 4 interceptions a game. Oh, well, Flacco's been close.
Yeah, but Flacco just presents that leadership type thing and that toughness. I mean, the dude's hard to bring down. He's 6'5", 230-something pounds. The dude's a big man.
Dude's napping on the bench, man. Like
he's taking power naps. He knows the way life works.
I know he's been dealing. You know what? I think he took the contract in the NFL to get away from his kids because they were tiring him out.
Probably. That's why Philip Rivers still wants to come back. Isn't he going to a booth sometime soon? I thought he was. Rivers. I thought Rivers was going to a booth sometime. I don't know. I would love to hear him commentate. He is so entertaining.
Well, he was one of those quarterbacks that everybody talked about that was like a superior, shit talker.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Him in a booth would be hilarious. Him and RG3 together would probably be some of the most entertaining play calling I've ever heard.
That'd be funny.
But I do got to say one thing about the end of the NFL season. I know we still have the playoffs, but fuck Tom Brady because I'm going to miss Greg Olsen terribly as Fox's number 1 broadcaster because Tom will now be the number 1 broadcaster entering next season.
I really like Olsen, and if they're not going to use him properly, I hope he goes somewhere where they can utilize him well.
Yeah, because I really don't know if Brady's going to be that exciting to listen to. I know he has a personality. It's hard, but Greg Olsen's been so good. But anyway, offensive player.
Dude, he's like an overgrown Chucky doll, man.
Yeah. Offensive player of the year.
He's a good guy, doll. Offensive player of the year. Ooh. God, this is a tough one.
This is hard.
Like, fuck. Because I feel like this is a CMC Tyreek Hill debate.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have either of them because I have a third wild card in there, but yeah. I think it's 100% between these three.
Because I think the third one, CeeDee Lamb?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. Wow, that trifecta is really hard to pick between. Like, unbelievably hard.
Yeah, for me, it's just how much Lamb closed down the end of the season and finished out the end of the year. It was just incredible. And I put him in my offensive player of the year simply because of how he finished the season. I mean, he was the number one receiver the last 7 weeks of the year in every category.
Yeah. Tyreek
except for yards after catch. I don't know.
Which is Rashee
Rice is unbelievably quick. That first step after he catches the ball is like a fucking cannon.
Did you ever see that? What was it? I think it was the Florida running back who was an Olympic silver medalist sprinter.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You ever see that guy just take off? Ain't nobody catching those people. That's why Tyreek is Tyreek. I think CD has a definite argument. I just think CMC got so much coverage this year, he's going to win it.
I have a feeling it's going to go to McCaffrey, but I couldn't just not give CeeDee Lamb some love.
No, CeeDee Lamb definitely deserves to be in the conversation, especially the gap between him and Tyreek yards wise was minimal. Tyreek didn't miss a full game, but CMC didn't play the last game of the season.
Yeah. And if he didn't get hurt in one of the other ones, he probably hit 2,000 yards, to be honest. He was at 1,700, I think.
So I think there's a case for all three. I really do. I don't think I would be mad if any of the three win it.
Yeah, if someone else wins it, I'd be a little upset.
The only other crazy person I could throw in there might be Mostert with his amount of touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, but McCaffrey had one more touchdown.
That might be the real wild card would be Mostert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But CMC basically had as many touchdowns. It was just receiving and rushing. So,
yeah. All right. Defensive player of the year.
Oh. Yeah. You know, this is a real tough one. Did TJ Watt end up the sack leader?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, I think.
By the way, Wisconsin legends, I just want to point this out because I'm a Wisconsin guy. TJ Watt and JJ Watt are the first two players in NFL history to both have 19 sack seasons multiple times. They're the only two players to ever do it.
Yeah, I think that kind of is just like what cements it. What sucks is he got hurt.
Yeah, they need him most now, and now he's gone. All right, I respect and appreciate the idea of TJ Watt. He's my number two. I should be number one because he's a Wisconsin guy, and I'm supposed to be loyal to them. But I got to go to the good old school of Kentucky, putting out my favorite defensive player. Josh Allen, number 2 in sacks, and he's my defensive player of the year. He had a pick, 3 pass deflections, a 46% pressure rate. He led the league in pressures on quarterbacks. He's second in the league in sacks. Look, it's probably going to go to TJ Watt, but Gerald McCoy was actually having this debate on fucking NFL Network, and he convinced me Josh Allen is better than TJ Watt this year. So I'm going with it.
He gets no love. He gets no coverage.
No, not at all. When you talk about the Jags, it's Trevor Lawrence.
It was the same thing with Danielle Hunter when Danielle Hunter was the sack leader and wasn't getting any love because Micah Parsons and TJ
Dude-
Watt are there.
Dude finished fourth in sacks, and no one still even knows Deion Hunter plays football, it seems like.
Mhm.
No, I love everything about Josh Allen. He's like kind of like Max Crosby, where he just has that motor. And I freaking love it. And he's a free agent. I've already said that, in my opinion, since they're number 2 in overall cap, I would die of happiness if he went to Houston, because you would have D'Amico Ryans as his coach, and he'd be opposite of Will Anderson.
Oh my God.
But he is a free agent at the end of the year. I don't know if the Jags will franchise tag him. But that's my defensive player of the year. But I do think TJ Watt potentially wins it, and he is definitely my number 2. I can't deny what TJ Watt has done. He is that entire team's. He's like their lifeblood too. He's not just their best defensive player. Like,
Well,
everything
when he doesn't play, their play drops off a cliff.
Yeah, even on the offense side, it's like he just brings so much energy. What a bad pick, dummy. Why are you circling the right guard? Oh, he gets by the right guard again. He's been terrible today.
Yeah, Penix normally has a little bit more time than he has tonight.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a pick, though. That looked like the defender might have been out of bounds.
Yeah, I can't tell. Oh, here you go. Sideline cam. No, it's a pick. Fuck me.
Oh, no. He came down in bounds 2 feet and an elbow.
Fuck me. All right. All right. Last 2 that I can think of. I don't remember all the awards. I mean, there's a best kicker and all that shit. I'm not doing all that.
Dustin Hopkins.
I would have said Brandon Aubrey. But
yeah, he had 2 misses in the final game. What do you think of that?
I know. And Penix got rolled up on and is holding his ankle. So that's pretty dope. All right, offensive rookie of the year. I feel like it's an open and closed case.
I feel this is a runaway train for CJ Stroud.
I can't argue it.
I think early in the year there was other considerations. Hell, Tank Dell might have been one of them.
Yeah, I think at the halfway point of the year, it was C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, and Bijan Robinson, I think, were the betting odds of 1, 2, and 3. And now I can't even picture anyone else winning this award.
This is technically Breece Hall's rookie season, so maybe Breece Hall.
Oh, wait, there is one more, because I actually want to talk about that conversation. But anyway, defensive rookie of the year.
Ooh. This one got tough for me because I thought it was going to be a runaway the way he started the year with Jalen Carter. But I didn't like him.
That's a different name than I was going to say at the beginning of the year.
Because I didn't like that early on. Or I liked it early on. I don't like it now. Go ahead with your early one, because
my early one, not who I finished with, because again, fell off real hard, was Devon Witherspoon.
Oh, yeah.
I was real high on Devon Witherspoon, but he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, you probably would have had Gonzalez in there had he not gotten hurt.
I think he easily would have been there, to be honest.
Brian Branch?
Brian Branch is another good one. Dark horse, but a good one.
He's for me, the way it ended, I would go Will Anderson Jr. for the Texans. Personally,
I think it's like Stroud. I don't think it's close anymore. I think Jalen Carter, Devon Witherspoon, Brian Branch, they were all close at points. I think Will Anderson really solidified it down the stretch. There was another name that I know he's not going to win it, but he has showed up in the odds the past few weeks, and I just want to throw him out there because no one knows he exists. And we're going to see him in the playoffs, and Boogie's going to see him. But it's Diaby.
Oh, Diaby, yeah.
Fucking out of nowhere. And he played incredibly for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he really showed up down the stretch for them. I was going to say, another name that was mentioned throughout the year was Porter Jr.
Yeah, he vanished.
But he vanished, just like you said.
Yeah, I just pulled up the odds as of right now, as the season has ended, and the closing odds are Will Anderson is significantly ahead, and then it is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is second. Devon Witherspoon is third. Brian Branch is fourth, and Diaby is fifth as
Okay.
of right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, I mean, we covered them all, but Will Anderson is the way he finished the year. It's just hard not to.
And you're going to see a little bit of him in the playoffs. Not that it affects the picks, but you'll see why.
Yeah, I think he's going to get after Flacco a little bit. He's really gotten hot. All right, the last one that I actually normally don't really get too into, except for Alex Smith, but I'm into this year because I think there's two interesting people that deserve it, and then I think there's a third that could potentially win it. But comeback player of the year.
I was going to say we got to be going comeback player of the year for talking Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And obviously the two are the guy who was dead and the guy that was on the couch.
No, I think there's two that deserve it, and I think the other one that might win it is Damar Hamlin.
I was going to say NFL scriptwriters pick a guy who played 8 plays this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying what he overcame wasn't a miracle, but comeback player of the year should go to a guy who actually impacted and made a comeback to play on his team.
No. Comeback player of the year means you actually got to play.
Yeah, exactly. You should make. Yeah, look, I'm not saying he kind of Undertaker and came back from the dead, but I don't.
Mariah Carey does that every Christmas. All right.
Exactly. And she gets more money each year. It's crazy. This year she had more streams and purchases of her shit than the last year. I'm like, how does it go up?
Listen, all she does is sleep 16 hours a day. Okay. She takes milk baths. Okay. She's living the diva life.
I mean, her ex has 16 kids. Did you see that he actually managed to get to every kid for Christmas on Christmas Day?
Listen.
And they live in different fucking states, some of them.
Listen, man. She fell out of first this year, though. She did fall out of first this year. That's wild.
Who the fuck would Taylor Swift make a Christmas album? Are we gonna have a Kanye
I think it was. I thought it was an older song, wasn't it?
I don't know. That's crazy to me that Mariah can fall out of first. I just figured she's the icon of Christmas now. Tim Allen's the movie guy for Christmas now.
Nah, You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, Kid is the movie icon for Christmas.
No, the OG Rockin' Around the fuck?
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
All right, anyway. We both made our opinion felt about DeMar. He might win it, but I think there's a very interesting person besides Mr. Flacco because he did it for a full season. And I think Baker Mayfield belongs in this conversation.
I guess it depends on how you define comeback.
Well, he wasn't playing last year. He played 3 games, got cut, and then played 2 games, and then wasn't re-signed. I don't know if it counts as comeback, but I mean,
like Andy Dwyer said, Kim Kardashian,
Brenda Lee. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the original "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree" song.
Comeback player of the year odds. Let me see what they are right now on the sports betting odds. It is currently the favorites as of right now is Joe. As of right now, it's Joe Flacco. Baker Mayfield in second. DeMar is third, and Matt Stafford?
Was he coming back from his wife paddling on him during a fucking...
I guess the injury? There's some real weird... All right, so hold on. This is MGM Grand. Has DeMar Hamlin as the favorite. Flacco at plus 450. Josh Dobbs at plus 400 as the second best odds.
Well, yeah, had he played down the stretch, that whole move to the Vikings, no practice shit would have definitely played out.
But come back from what? He was never anything.
Come back from the moon. He actually physically had to come back to play football.
Is this future odds? No, this is right now.
Right now, what I have as the odds for DraftKings is DeMar Hamlin minus 140, Joe Flacco plus 100, Baker plus 1200, and Matt
Yeah,
Stafford plus
MGM Grand
7500.
is weird as fuck.
MGM Grand is listed below it, but yeah.
Because it has Rodgers in this list. Well, how?
Well, he didn't come back, but if he did,
I don't know. To me, it's Joe Flacco, but I think Baker
I think it's Joe Flacco too, but
we know how the world works. But all right, unfortunately, we have to at least temporarily pick these two games on Saturday.
I don't want to.
For those who are watching or trying to keep up with the game, it's 20-10. Michigan, Washington has the ball. There's still 12 minutes left in the second and in the third quarter, so there's still a full half of football left. First game is Cleveland at Houston. Cleveland is the favorite on the road. This game did happen a few weeks ago, but there was no CJ Stroud or Nico Collins in this game. So I don't really weigh much value into that one. Saturday at 4:30, for those who are curious what time these playoff games are, since there's 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday.
This is 4:30 p.m. on NBC.
As I say, I didn't know a channel, but I'm glad you got me. All right. So I love my app. It says Jeff Driscoll starting. I'm like, you couldn't be more wrong.
You couldn't be more wrong there. Good job.
So it's Flacco versus Stroud. It's complete opposites. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just to clarify, the 5 seed could wind up playing the Baltimore Ravens in the next round if the 2 and 3 handle their business. So Joe Flacco could very well next week be headed to Baltimore, and the scriptwriters would love that, as they have the Houston Texans hosting Deshaun Watson's team after trading Deshaun Watson to the Browns. And Deshaun Watson's not even playing, so it's even better.
First scriptwriter move of the playoffs. Great.
Yep. This is temporary. We might change our picks. We'll post it in our I'll post it in our Discord and our Facebook page in case we do change. I don't know how to feel this early, but I will.
I'm not cemented in my pick, but I'm pretty solid on this one.
This is the team that Amari Cooper did throw 200 and something yards for.
Yeah, I'm going Cleveland here. I think this defense. Now it's the defense on the road. They were definitely worse on the road.
After the season ended, I'm 12 picks behind you, so I got to make some ground up here. I'm not saying that's why I'm making this pick as of right now, but I'm taking the Texans.
I like CJ Stroud as a game breaker, but I like Myles Garrett more.
Davis Mills did put up 20 points against this defense. So there's a chance that CJ Stroud can keep pace. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's hard to imagine a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback with a rookie star defensive player all coming through and winning this game to move this team on against a team with a bunch of veterans who have been in the playoffs and played at multiple levels of the playoffs. But
and
I don't know.
Also, by the way, I'm taking this pick because one of my bold predictions was that Joe Flacco
wins the Super Bowl. Yeah. So I don't know. Home team. I feel like maybe the crowd will be loud. They're not really a stadium known to have a loud crowd, but
yeah, they better get them leaks fixed.
This is their first year of actual hope in a long time. So, and like Dot said, the crowd volume will leak out into the atmosphere if they don't fix the holes in the roof. All right. The other Saturday night game. This is in Kansas City. From everything I've read, the game time temperature is supposed to be in the 10s-ish, and the game feels like is supposed to be around -2. In Kansas City, they host the Miami Dolphins. They are a 3.5-point favorite, only getting a half point, regardless if the Dolphins are not a very good road team or cold weather team.
Dude, they
But
play in
as the
80-degree weather all year round. What are you talking about? They're obviously not a cold weather team.
as the script writers have continued to hit home, Tyreek
Tyreek
Hill
Hill
comes home with
Invitational.
the potential.
Tyreek Hill Invitational.
Now, the Chiefs claim L'Jarius Sneed is the best corner in the league, so if you really stand by that, I assume he'll follow Tyreek Hill around the field. Either that or you're just going to use him to shut down a hobbled Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see. Now, again, Miami also banged up on the defensive side of the ball.
Missing both pass rushers is absolutely terrible.
Listen, you don't really have to rush Patrick Mahomes because the wide receivers can't catch the ball.
Yeah, just cover Rashee Rice and cover Travis Kelce and let the other ones do their damage. As of right now, Rashee Rice is questionable. L'Jarius Sneed is still questionable. Kadarius Toney questionable. Sky Moore is on the IR, for those who don't remember. Jerick McKinnon is still on the IR. On the flip side, we already have Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips out for the year. But Jalen Waddle, questionable. Van Ginkel is expected to not play after his injury yesterday in the game as well. That's another big loss.
He's done for the season, actually.
There you go. It just says out on my thing. It
No,
doesn't say IR.
he got shut down for the season today.
All right, so there's another big loss on that defense. Mostert questionable. Xavier Howard also questionable. So they have some real big pieces. And Jerome Baker's out. So another he's out for the season as well, the rest of the postseason. So they lost their starting middle linebacker and their other middle linebacker. The Dolphins are missing too many pieces for me to fully believe they can pull this off. I do think they have the offense too, but Tua's really got to elevate. He has come down from the highest levels to being a very mid-level quarterback lately. And I don't mean to be mean to the Dolphins, but the Patriots won more games against winning record teams than the Dolphins did this season. Saw that stat today, and that blew my mind. I got to go with the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs do enough to win here. I think they're good enough to get through this game. Now, if they can't stop Miami, that's a whole different ball game. But I think their defense is good enough to at least slow down Miami.
Yep. This could be a very defensive, 20-17 game, and I wouldn't
That's
be shocked.
Literally, if you can get to 24-30 on Kansas City, you're winning the game.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I like Kansas City here too. Miami's a speed team. They're banged up on defense. Kansas City, not the greatest offensive team right now, but defensively, they are really good. And I think people sleep on that. So I like Kansas City here as well. This is the game, 8:15 on Peacock on Saturday night. This is the Swifty Bowl.
Yep.
So,
She, for those who didn't know, she actually reserved a suite at the Chargers-Chiefs game yesterday, and then when she heard Kelce wasn't playing, she refunded her suite. So
apparently,
she'll be there.
Apparently, she doesn't know how Week 18 works. This is her first season. Let her. You know, she's got other priorities. But you think she might have an assistant who says, "Hey, you don't need to do that."
Yeah,
but maybe with the thought of the 16 yards, it would have been a good PR to be there.
I really kind of hoped they were going to let him play at least a quarter to get that 16 yards, just because, I don't know, 7 straight consecutive seasons as a tight end with 1,000 yards is something we don't see. So
yeah, I'm good with him not getting Laporta.
Once he got the record, once Laporta broke the record, I don't know why they didn't pull him. I just don't.
That's Motor City Dan Campbell living on the edge.
That was like that moment where you just go, you got to take him out of the game. Of all the people, him and Amon-Ra are like the two most irreplaceable.
Yeah, that's definitely a big loss.
It'll be mass hysteria anyway if she makes the Super Bowl.
They'll be sneaking her in a popcorn machine and sneaking her out in an empty keg.
I mean, she could just do the halftime show. I don't remember who's doing it, but I'd probably rather
imagine,
watch Taylor.
Imagine they don't announce the halftime show. She just comes out and does it, and they're like,
I forget who they announced.
1.4 billion Swifties watching today.
It's somebody I don't like, and I don't remember who it is. Oh, it's not someone I don't like. It's just someone that brought Bieber into fame. It's Usher.
Watch this.
Whatever. Don't bother me any.
Ursher?
Could you imagine, though, if they actually said Taylor, like, just come out today and be like, Taylor Swift will be doing the 2025 Super Bowl, like, next year's? Fucking, they would guarantee automatic ratings. Like, it don't matter who's in it.
Dude, I know you and I have slammed on it, and people in the NFL have hated it, but I'll tell you what, they played it right the whole season. And they're still playing it right now.
Yeah.
You're getting fans who would have never watched football. You're getting people who would have never watched football, watching football podcasts, checking in on statuses. Yeah, listen, just like everything else, the NFL nailed it.
I'm going to point this out too, because I'm not a Swiftie, but I am a massive fan of another female singer. I don't listen to her music, but I fucking idolize. Like, she is like the dream like woman in celebrity life, and it's Haley Steinfeld. And rumors came out yesterday that her and Josh Allen got engaged, and I'm a little salty. I didn't even know they were dating. Buffalo, not Jacksonville, Buffalo. Josh Allen. I hate that. Like, sometimes when I go to Google the one, I have to type in the team because I'm like, oh, got the wrong one. But there was rumors yesterday that was a thing. And I was like, oh, you could do like a Taylor Swift, Haley Steinfeld fucking show at halftime. So there's our awards. There's our 2 picks. We have yet to pick, obviously, the rest of the Sunday games. We're live on Sunday morning, so that's not a worry. And the Monday game, spoiler alert, I'm taking the Bucs on Monday. Nothing's changing that. I don't give a fuck if they went out and signed Donovan McNabb in his prime. I still wouldn't take the Eagles right now. I have no confidence in what Nick Sirianni is doing right now. But we appreciate everybody hanging out all year.
By the way, at the Golden Globes, she did kind of calm down that rumor and say that wasn't a thing.
Good. Fuck
that him. she picked a ring to put on that finger. That's what she said.
Good. For those who didn't, join our fantasy league, my buddy Daniel Yanez from good old Arizona won the championship after eliminating Dot. Actually went on to win the title, so good for him.
I had my worst week of the year, first round of my playoffs.
Yeah. So we're gonna get him out the new belt month March. I'm gonna send Dot his the same time, so I can just get them both out. So Dot can have his sitting on the room behind him or whatever he's gonna do with it.
It'll go on the wall. It'll be prominently shown. Like I said, and to go 14-0 in our league and losing the playoffs, my God, how much more fitting for a Patriots fan.
Yeah, that was the dude in the stream the one night that was worried in my Wanagi Motto stream. Yeah, that was the dude that was like, "Oh man, I faced Dot, who's undefeated. I'm going to need all the luck I can get." And I was
I typed it in the chat. I go, watch. I'll go on. I was hoping to lose a game during the regular season, and I almost lost to the last place team during the regular season. I needed that L. I didn't get that L, and this is what happens. This is what happens when you go in undefeated. I actually, like I said, very consistent this year. 3 leagues, 3rd place in every league. Had to battle for 3rd in the Strikeout Beer League. Made the playoffs last week to knock the 4th place guy.
I received a bonus bet. Ooh. How did I already lose a bet? My bets were on this game, which isn't over, and the Avalanche and Bruins game, which starts at 9. There's no way it's over.
Maybe they just refunded you something? But it says you lost.
Yeah. What? Did someone not play for the Bruins that was supposed to? Well, Marchand scored. I had that.
Derek Jeter's there for Michigan with Stephen A.
So when I moved to Michigan with my ex back in the day, and I went to our local Texas Roadhouse.
The Travis Scott, Ludacris.
Not Ludacris. There was There was fucking Derek Jeter signs. Like, I mean, not Derek Jeter signs, but like jerseys and shit hanging up on the wall. And I'm like, why is this shit happening in Michigan? I had no idea he was from Michigan.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, he's from here. And I was like, I thought he was from fucking Miami.
No, he moved to Miami now.
Apparently he moved to Miami like right after high school. And
yeah,
I just didn't know.
Well, you would do that as a baseball player so you can get to play year round.
Yeah. I was so confused though. I was checking after all the expenses of my car if I had money for Taco Bell, and I got that email about bonus bet, and I was like, "What?"
Listen, you turn that into a 20-leg parlay and turn $5 into $500K. Let's go.
I have a 19-leg parlay on the Bruins Avalanche game right now.
Oh, good. Dude, I'm telling you, 1-1. Washington's been stopping Michigan. They can tie this game up pretty easily.
Which is 1-1 right now.
Maybe that's why you lost. You already lost a bunch of legs on that.
Oh, Stars Wild. I forgot I had one on that one.
Okay.
Which actually might hit. I just need 6 goals total. I only had that those combined for 6 goals, and I had Rupee Hintz and Seguin scoring, and they both scored. I fucking love Rupee Hintz. I absolutely love Rupee Hintz.
Yeah. Good player.
I haven't watched enough hockey this season. I was talking about that earlier today, actually. I really miss fucking watching hockey.
Yeah, I get to. So I've been catching games here and there, specifically Kings games, obviously, and I actually go to Boston to watch them play Boston on February 17th.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Saturday 12:30 game. So drunk by noon. Fuck, let's go.
Just curiosity. Oh, it's the week after the Super Bowl. I was like, isn't that the day before the Super Bowl? Because I know nobody plays on the day of the Super Bowl because you would never get anyone to watch.
Nope.
But... All right, let's see if there's anyone to raid.
Yeah, let me pull up mine. I follow too many people. Still scrolling. Hold on. Okay, nobody on my phone, but how about on Grab Some Pine, which would be your friends? All I see Reloke's playing Fortnite, which I don't like going to Fortnite really.
I don't know whether it's to thank you or curse you for Otters yesterday. Why? Who wouldn't want to watch Otters?
Do you want a baby otter now? Is that why?
Or did you just have that up at work all day? Since there tend to be a 24-hour stream.
I spent way too much time. Makes sense.
I still have them up all the time. They're still up right now.
You just leave it running.
There's an otter right now trying to catch a moth. I could have given you this one. It's a wolf conservation center where there's a bunch of wolves in camera all the time. I fucking love animals. My entire life is animals, so I follow every.
There's a wildlife rescue not far from here where Meg lives, like near the mountain, and their son that I went to high school with, and she went to high school with, grew up with 3 Timberwolves, and so the wolves only like he's the only person that can go in their pen.
Boogie, I love you, but like, I mean, you could watch more otters and animals, and then watch less Jason and Travis,
or less Philly football and get frustrated.
I did mean to bring this up. I know not a lot of you are big into it, but unless Dot's against it, I'm still going to do it either way. But I'm going to do it.
Unless Dot's against it, I'm going to do it anyway. So.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be in it, but I'm going to do I wanted to do it for hockey, but I kind of slept on it and forgot. I'm going to do a fantasy baseball league through Grab Some Pine if anyone wants to join.
Ooh.
Just for fun throughout the season. No money. Just have a good time.
Another belt, baseball. Maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking a trophy because at the end of the season, you get a trophy in baseball. That's the only thing I could think of.
My mom does lots of arts and crafts. We could rhinestone a belt to hell.
There you go. We could do a baseball belt. Yeah. It's a full season, so you deserve something good for it.
What was
Baseball's
what,
it'll be daily.
we could make a trophy, and
I don't like weekly rosters just because I like them because I don't have to pay attention to it as much, and because you don't get those guys who stream pitchers. I don't know. I guess we'll talk about it as the season gets closer. I've still got 32 days until pitchers.
we could do a baseball bat as a trophy, but we'll make it like Negan's Lucille.
There you go. There you go. Something. We'll do something cool if people want to get into it. If we can get enough people into it, it'll definitely be worth doing just so we can, I don't know, we're going to talk a little bit of baseball during the season, not as much as we do football, but because we're going to do some cool little football games and trivias that I've been pulling up and putting in my laptop. So,
also, one quick thing before we go. Did you see the NFL, the best memes that came up after teams made or missed the playoffs?
I've seen a lot of them, but not all of them.
Did you see the one with the Jaguars? And it's the scene from SpongeBob where Sandy is in the Alaskan bullworm's mouth standing on the tongue after she ties it in a knot. So it's Sandy, but the face is the Jaguars mask standing on the tied tongue. And it's the Steelers outside behind the rock as SpongeBob pointing to the Alaskan bullworm with its mouth open. And it's the Titans.
It's fucking awesome.
I was like, that's brilliant. And then the Raiders had a good one. It was like a Raiders guy in like an old Chevelle, like top down, pulling into Vegas, and it just said, "Let's ride."
But yeah, I just want to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up a couple more times, see if we can get some people in. I think the guy who just won our fantasy football league will be in. He's a big baseball nerd. Get a couple people in, just have a good time. We can do weekly, we can do daily, we can take a vote on see what everyone prefers. I would still, if I did daily, I'm still going to put a weekly limit on how many acquisitions you can make so people can't stream pitchers literally through the week, because it's the easiest way to win a fantasy league. It's just literally draft 2 good pitchers and then don't worry about pitching and stream the rest of your pitching staff every day by who's starting. It's a real easy way to pick up some dubs. But yeah, we'll talk about it more. I like the idea of giving trophies and having a good time playing fantasy sports with friends. I even joined a fucking fantasy basketball league the other day with Nerd Sesh, that podcast. The TikTok and YouTube page I'm part of. Well, not part of, but watch all the time. And I know jack shit about basketball. I was looking at my lineup today because I was
what better way to learn though?
I don't even know half these guys' names. I've never heard of them. I have Steph Curry. They drafted while we were on podcast, and I was going to pull it up, but I kind of forgot.
I'd be down for a baseball. That'd be fun.
You should do it. We have a good time. I'm up.
I got invited. My problem, I got invited to one for hockey and just never. I missed the invite because I was like not on Discord and I was out of town for the week. And then when I came back, it was already done. I was like, shit.
Yeah, so I just looked at my lineup. I know DeMar DeRozan, and I know Steph Curry and Zion Williamson. I don't know another player on my entire team in this league, but I got them. I don't know.
Hey, listen, whatever.
They invited me, and I want to continue to be part of it because they have a successful little TikTok thing that they do. And if I can ever get any of the Nerd Sesh guys in here, it would be great for both us and them, and it would be fun. And they're a little nerdier than I am about football. They know guys that I've never heard of from like the 70s, just off the top of their head. They can pull up names, and I'm like intrigued by some of that crap because I study the game of football. I just don't study the game of football before 1985.
I don't study the game of football before last week because it's a futuristic sport.
I know. I just love to know the guys who created what we have today. And
yeah, it's called The Owners and Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell can lick my balls.
You know what would help with that shoulder pain, Roger Goodell? If you lick my butthole.
I said that the other day. I said my shoulder hurt. I think it was on
stream. McCarthy just rip off a 40-yard run.
Yeah. Washington is apparently real bad against the run. Even
did you see the numbers? Like in the first quarter, Michigan averaged 19.5 yards per carry. In the second quarter, it was like just over 5. And so far in the third quarter, it was like 4.2. And he just ran for 40.
And he just ran for 14 more on the very next play. So
Yeah, now you have to spy him, and now he's going to dice you up on a throw.
yeah, this is ridiculous. I know it's a close game still, but it doesn't feel close. It just feels like Michigan's dominating this game. It's funny how ground game does that. Like ground game isn't as pretty, but man, when a team runs the ball for 200 yards
and because they control so much of the clock, they force you into thinking you have to play faster than you do.
Yep. Yeah. He's 6 of 13 with 80 yards through the air. And he's already got 3 rushes for I didn't see what that stat line was.
It's crazy to think that, like, when Cowherd was talking to Middlecoff and they were talking about betting this game, Middlecoff wanted to bet Washington just because the odds were so good. Like, if you hit, you hit.
That's what I did.
But Cowherd said that Cowherd goes, because Middlecoff goes, what if JJ McCarthy has a game like he had against Alabama where he only throws for 120 yards? And Cowherd goes, yeah, that means they ran for 300.
That's happening.
And that's Cowherd goes, I like Michigan here. I was like, oh, okay. So,
but Cowherd loves any of the major popular things anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does, right? That's his job.
Because they're running for 300 yards. But again, like you said, they've shut them down the last couple drives, and we're on third down. They're on third down right now.
Third down?
This could stall out. So,
yeah, and Michigan's only up 7. Again, it's not like they're running away with it like it looked like early.
Boogie, we would love you to join us, though, for baseball. It'd be fun. If I get Bryce Harper by chance, I'll just trade him to you for a bag of peanuts. Or Taco Bell tonight. I don't know, whatever.
Listen, they have a Liv Moss section for Washington.
What?
They have a Liv Moss section. Liv Moss Taco Bell section for Washington because of the purple.
That's genius, to be honest.
Listen, what better thing than drunk college kids to represent what happens in a Taco Bell drive-thru at 3:00 in the morning?
Man, when I used to work there, I fucking hated doing the close shift because it'd be fine. You'd be really slow between 11 and 1, and then at 1 a.m., that first beep, you know you're getting a drunk asshole. And
listen. The Taco Bell drive-thru from 1 a.m. to like 3 a.m. is great because you'll have 4 dudes on a scooter, a Mercedes-Benz, and then some Pinto all in a row, and they're all there to Liv Moss, okay?
One of our managers was creepy. He would just lean out the window and try and get every girl's number. And I was like, dude, chill out. Like, you're here to do your job. Drunk girls
you already get their number. It's to their debit cards.
Yes.
If you're going to commit crimes, let's,
do it in the Taco Bell drive-thru in the middle of the night.
Right.
All right, so I have someone to rate.
You can guarantee a first date in court by just, doing what I said.
People have met weirder ways. So.
Hey, have you seen that? You know the guy who jumped the desk and jumped that judge? Have you seen that video?
No.
So some guy, he got sentenced by a judge to no bond, and he jumped over her desk and tackled her behind her desk in the courtroom. And they brought him in today and had a Hannibal Lecter mask on him and these special cuffs that had his hands covered in these orange containers.
Did he fucking bite her? Why did they have the Hannibal Lecter mask on him?
It was it's like a spit mask apparently. And then the best part was somebody goes, he has the opportunity to do something really funny today. I was like, oh, come on. Oh, man. Yes, we like to joke around here.
All right, so we're gonna go give Mr. Krug some love. He's one of Chewy and Grizzlies' loyal
Mr. Krug?
Yeah.
I know him. I don't think I have him followed on Twitch, but I do. I've been in his stream multiple times because of Grizz.
First time I've ever seen this person in my life. I see him in the chat all the time. We occasionally like chat and Grizzlies chat, but never didn't even know he streamed. But we're going to Mr. Krug's stream. He's playing Lego Fortnite. I don't like to do Fortnite, but I want to raid somebody, so fuck it. Oh, before we leave, Boogie, we appreciate you so very much. Thank you for your sub. I did see that earlier, but we were talking and I didn't want to interrupt our conversation. So thank you so much for the sub. We appreciate you. You are the best of the best. Regardless that you like Philadelphia.
I was gonna say, yeah, regardless of Philly fandom, that whole thing, but we're all right there.
But we love you and we appreciate you. We will be back on Sunday morning. I will be streaming tomorrow for myself and then the racing one on Wednesday.
Sometime in the next decade, I'll stream again.
NASCAR is getting so fucking close. I'm so excited. I can't fucking stop counting days now. But anyway, give Mr. Krug some love. Say hi to him. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good night. Have a good week. Enjoy some football. If we don't talk before Saturday, enjoy some football.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy. Oh.